Well, I'll see you soon, but you'll be having Legrand Grand and MD immediately. But enjoy.
Okay, everybody. So we have our special guest with us today, Checker Conroy. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, of course, me and Legrand, who were just myself, MD, and Legrand, who were just talking for you to you for 30 minutes. We're still here. Sorry, you have to hear our voices for a little bit longer, but yeah. So we'll be joined with Chugga.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so we'll be joined with Chugga here, and we'll be commentating Torna, the Golden Country, any percent glitched. We're really excited for this.
Let's begin the experiment. Let the curtain rise.
Bowie, are you ready on your end?
Like
Yes,
starting.
I am. Yeah, sorry, I just sent them off. So go.
And it's starting.
Here we go.
Woo!
All right. So, this is Torna the Golden Country. This is the prequel to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the base game. We're going to be starting with the tutorial fight here.
Yep. So, to give a little bit of an explanation on how the gameplay of Torna works, so you've got auto attacks, right? Auto attacks are going to build the arts that you can press on X, Y, and B. That's going to be your basic arts, and when you use them, that's going to build your talent art gauge, which is the A button. And the A button can go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, and even level 4. And the higher the level, obviously, should be the high damage.
So they use Wildfire Snap to defeat the first enemy here, and then they're going to be moving on to the second phase of the tutorial fight. Here they kill a couple more enemies, and then after they beat these three, there'll be one more phase where they have to use a Tier 4 special. This Tier 4 special is programmed to be the only way to kill these enemies, the next enemy in the fight, so they have to use it.
Thankfully, it's free. Also, an advantage level 4 specials is that everything just stops in place for a moment, so you can use it as a last-ditch effort.
Exactly. You even get immunity frames from level 4 specials, which can save you in tight situations.
Very, very helpful, yeah. There's quite a few ways of stopping time, though, but this is just one that we'll be seeing here.
Yeah. So this is the enemy. Yeah. They're going to be killing them, and then we'll be moving on.
First question, why are your game versions different? One was playing on 1.0.2 and the other on 1.1. I'm curious what the preference is there, or if there is a difference.
I'm pretty sure there's no difference between both. And I bet that it's just never updating the game, because maybe you want to keep Xenoblade 1 still as a 1.0 version where you can still do the crazy glitches that we're not going to be able to see in this relay.
Okay, I was just curious. I think the only way that Torna was substantially patched was them adding New Game Plus, which not a lot of people played.
It's really not that important, really. There is quite a few runs of New Game Plus, and there's quite a few interesting glitches with it as well. Interestingly enough, but we're going to see plenty, and the fights are also going to still be interesting in New Game, obviously.
All right.
For sure. So we're going to move on to the next section here, which is we're kind of going to do a little bit of story. And then after that story, we're going to be introduced to collection points. And collection points are very pivotal in this run. There's going to be a lot of collecting. Part of that is for various reasons, mainly being all the quests that we're going to be doing.
If you've never played this game before, first of all, what is wrong with you? Second of all, many side quests are going to be required in any run of this game. So we're going to be doing collecting, we're going to be bopping enemies on the head a lot more than you would typically see in a speed run. Obviously, some objectives are going to be faster than others, but yeah.
Yep, so they're going to be doing some collection here. They're going to be crafting a couple things as well. The crafting section in this game is done via the campfires. Campfires can give you a lot of different options. You got chances to talk to your to your party members, to craft, and to do various other things like resting and getting bonus EXP, which will be used later.
Pouch items are also great. They give this is how you get pouch items in the game. You can't freely buy them. They can make things like your art recharge go faster. And beyond that, a lot of your blade skills are tied directly to crafting all of the items they're able to craft, or crafting a certain number of them. And some of these are required field skill checks at certain points, and others are just really good skills that can be unlocked early game.
Yep. So there's going to be a couple. I'll go through some collectible requirements right now. This is going to be done multiple times throughout the run. So we've got flower spots, tree spots, and fish spots. We're looking for lily of the sunny valley, corkscrew creepers, cotton branches, and grim dark crabs. So this this is going to be a lot to keep track of. These runners are really paying attention to what they get and what they don't get, because if they don't get things that they need, they're going to have to go for their own backups.
Grim dark crab.
And considering that, like, it's going to be very, very hard to actually get everything that you want right away, you are going to have to go for some backups. Or even in the opposite way, if you're starting to see, hey, I'm noticing that I'm already getting a lot of the items that I need, maybe I can skip a few points and even completely skip them and be fine with it because I already have everything that I need. And that's a big thing about this run, is trying to adapt on the fly, seeing what you need, seeing what you don't need, how to adapt your route movement, etc., etc.
Oh, definitely. The beginning of the run is by far the most luck-based due to some factors that we'll be seeing later on. So a lot of this is just seeing what you get in the beginning, going with it, and then you'll have an easier time later on if maybe you don't get something.
Nice. Quite a few Lily of the Sun Valley on Samuel right there, who is quite a bit behind compared to Shem. Had a rough start at the very, very start of the game with the movement, and clearly we can see now that he's about 10-15 seconds behind, but surely this can change with the very first trick that we're going to see quite soon.
Oh, for sure. We're very excited for that. One thing that both the runners picked up earlier is a chest with the rigid vest. The rigid vest will increase your HP by a percentage amount, I believe, or maybe fixed. But either way, they're going to have a bit more HP on one of their characters. So there's kind of a mechanic that we should introduce before we get to the next fight, called the Vanguard switch. So essentially, you have your two characters in this game. The first person is your Vanguard, the one that you are controlling. The second person, or the third, there'll be another one eventually, is the rear guard. When you switch between the two, they have various effects depending on the character. So for example, Laura has a break guard, and when you switch to Jin, when you do the Vanguard switch, and Jin is the one you are controlling, you get a topple. And all the characters have the same different effect. But now that we're onto the gargoyle fight for Shem, you can kind of take a look into that.
So the big thing that you want to do between Laura and Jin ends that Jin is going to deal more damage and more Vanguard switch happens. So you want to switch as soon as basically available for this fight, especially because it's quite long and you are basically just trying to DPS away the enemy, and the more DPS, the better, because if you don't deal enough damage, you're probably dead.
I have to praise this fight really quick for having Battle in the Skies Above as its theme. I'm so happy that was repurposed into a boss theme for Torna, because it deserved it so badly.
It really did. It's fantastic. Yeah. So one thing I want to touch on here, mechanic-wise, is affinity. So in this game, we have affinity. As you see, there is a golden line on both screens, golden line between Jin and Laura. This line represents affinity. If it's not fully charged, then it'll be blue. But right now it's gold, which means it is fully charged. Affinity gives you a bunch of different effects that will increase your damage and increase your arch charge and a bunch of other different things. Jin in particular has some skills in his skill tree that will increase damage even further when at affinity. So it's really important for us to get to affinity and maintain it throughout all the fights.
Yes. The damage increases that you're trying to get in these fights are threefold. Jin does more damage while toppled. He has a special that does ever more damage while toppled. And with that golden thread, you are rewarded with even higher damage than that for playing well.
Yep, so we got Shem just moved on to Adam and Mithra. This is the next fight. We're going to target Mithra first here because Adam's kind of high evasion, and we'll get a level up from defeating Mithra. So in general, Jin is going to be one of the strongest damage dealers in this game and in this run. You'll see that plenty of times again, and we'll touch more on why in a little bit. But right now, Shem just got Mithra toppled, and he's going to continue trying to kill her and get that level up to fight Adam.
A bit ironic that Mithra has the bad evasion and it's Adam that's going to be dodging your attacks.
Yeah.
We're not quite killing Mithra right away because she's going to die from AoE damage. And when you're trying to deal damage, you try to maximize your damage. That includes also your AoE. So if you've got only one enemy on the screen and you're doing AoE, you're kind of missing shots. And just like that fight was done pretty quickly. And Samu is actually pretty close behind. Pretty close. I feel like he caught up a little bit. Oh no, that terrible.
Oh, that topple's really unfortunate. Yeah,
That's a problem with going with this strat is Mithra can break and then Adam will topple. But if you take out Mithra, then that's not an issue anymore.
So I think it's time to finally introduce the most infamous glitch in this entirety of this game.
For those of you that have never seen this before,
You've got something special in store. So what they're going to do is they're going to enter a state. Just did it right now. Enter a state called zombie hover state. This is this thing that was discovered, I believe, by Greg originally, but Xenoblade has adapted it for this version of the run, being zombie jump. So they're gonna collect the fish spot here, or I think they might have. Shem already might have done so. Yeah, he did, and Stammer's doing it now. And that'll kind of what they'll do is they'll enter a code, which is going to allow them to get into this mode, and they're gonna go to the campsite, sleep, and when they get out of the campsite, they'll be in hover state.
This glitch took years to discover. It's believed to be a debugging code that was left in the game by mistake because it's like several buttons at once plus a D-pad direction. It's wild. I remember the day that this was discovered, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah, so you have to press X, Y, LR, start select, I think, something like that, and that kills you. But if you do that during a campsite or during a cutscene, then you are stuck in that zombie state. And so you can't really die or be seen by encounters, or you can't hit locations. And Laura right now is not in zombie state, so that's why we can hit locations.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about this in this game is that when you switch blades, one in the middle of a jump, one in zombie glitch, you can jump again and again and again. But the problem with this jump is that it's I think it's frame perfect, and it's all a matter of having the correct rhythm. So
It's
back when
super
we
difficult.
first did this glitch, so this is about 2-3 minutes long to do. I made a tutorial with it where I said, yeah, use a metronome at the start to get the rhythm down. And so you have to, basically you're mashing B and left D-pad on your controller. It's really, really rough on the hands because like what you kind of want to do it with one hand because it makes the timing easier to get. So it's pretty hard to do. So you can do it in one go, or you can do it in 2 goes like Shamcat is doing. I don't like it because the start is usually kind of hard to set up because you cannot jump on every surfaces. You have to be at certain good spots.
Yeah, you're right, but it is
I'm
faster to do
very
this
good.
way. This is kind of a bit newer. This segmented portion where you kind of drop off at these different points in elevation is faster than doing it fully in one go. This is because the horizontal movement when you are in zombie jump is significantly slower. You get a lot of vertical height, but horizontally you don't really get far. So that's why, as you just saw on Shen's side, he just paused, dropped down, and then is moving forward horizontally this way. So basically what we're doing here with this glitch is we are going to grab the fast travel point for the final area in the game, Soaring Rostrum. Shem just got it right now. This is the fight, or this is the fast travel point before the final fight of the game. Normally in Xenoblade games, they are very, very well, I wouldn't say well programmed, but they are well organized in their story flag specifically. This is the one game where there isn't actually a story flag in the final dungeon. This means that you're able to skip up there, grab that point, and then continue on later.
We can survive endless falls with it as well by going down into... I said we were going to go up to our cruising altitude of 49,000 feet so we can discover the final landmark of the game, but we're making an emergency landing in Hyber Village.
Absolutely.
So that we can get an elemental ore prioritizer and a hunter's chemistry. The hunter's chemistry will make it so that we can start a lot of fights with the golden thread already built up. Just making our stuff a lot better performing in general, a lot more consistent. This has been First Officer Emil speaking for our Captain Legrand.
Yeah, the hunter's chem is really important. It's definitely one of the bigger parts of this. And yeah,
but that's not all.
Definitely not. Go for it.
Yeah, so we're not done glitching and getting good items. We are going to go so fast where something crazy is going to happen.
Yeah.
So the thing is, when you're in zombie state, when you're falling down, you cannot. It's really hard to. Oh my god, that was fast.
There we go. Look at how quick that was. So as you just saw, Shem just glitched right through the wall. This is again, zombie hover is obviously the largest difference between glitched and glitchless, but this is another difference that is super important. You basically go for it.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You can go for it.
I was gonna say, this is the Napon Half Sage's Shrine. Normally, this is a game-spanning side quest that gradually unlocks based on how many secrets we've discovered from exploring. We just skip all that crap and take the damn treasure. Here we get all sorts of things. Silver and gold chips make our attack stats so high that it trivializes most of the game. Gold chips mean better item drop rate, and as it turns out, we have to get item drop rates from quite a few enemies to complete every required quest. An enemy can drop 0, 1, or 2 of their materials, so getting 2 drops from any enemy is a huge deal. It saves a lot of time. In addition to that, we have the Beta Scope, which pairs with Laura's Break Art very well. We basically can endlessly attempt her Break Art once we have Talon Arts. In Glitchless, this saves a lot of time over Glitchless, because enemy break resistance is where a lot of the time saves are in that category. But here we really don't have to worry about that much. Plus, some enemies that we would normally need to topple for bonus damage just instantly die because our attack stat is so beefy. Like, Jin just went up over 800, Mithra's over 700 now. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Shem's actually equipping the gold chip on Hayes there, and as Shaka said, it's important that we get the gold chips set up as soon as we can. So right now we have 1 gold chip, which means we will get, I believe it's between, it's an increased chance, but nothing is guaranteed yet. Once we get 2 gold chips, then we'll be getting, I believe it is put on either on Brigid or on a Jaeon later, but basically that makes it a guaranteed 2 drop for any enemies. This is a massive time save, because as I said, collection is extremely important in this run, and getting guaranteed drops from monsters is a huge part of that.
Sam is having quite a bit of trouble with the zombie glitch, but he's getting to the end of his journey.
It's super difficult, so it's still very impressive.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly precise timing over a long period of time. This category is not like as popular with some people because 1, it's physically painful.
Yes, it is.
And for 2, if you enjoy playing Xenoblade 2, well, I got bad news. You're not going to be doing a whole lot of that.
Nope.
Yep. Like if you're trying to do this glitch for extended periods of times, you really have to stretch a lot your hands, because it's going to start to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, we call it the wrist
you
filler.
say stretch, I felt like it wasn't that much of a problem, but it's still like, it's not fun to do this. And especially like if you got a bad time, or if you are just having trouble with it, and if you fail, then you reset and you have to do it again 5 minutes later.
Yep.
Yeah, it's when I remember when I was a part of Anel's run at GDQ, commentating that run, he preferred the glitchless category just because it involves playing the game more.
Yeah, and you don't have to like physically stress your wrists out for an extended period of time. Like
Laura,
look at that, they're just falling on the ground. Zombie hover is hilarious.
Another thing that's great about Zombie Hover is that we skip the first side quest in the game, and by extension, we skip the community tutorial. So because of that, we don't have to see the community pop up every single time that we accomplish anything in a side quest or talk to a new person.
Yeah, so this is something that we call game skip, and you see Kame right there. We're just gonna walk by him real quick. The game, so there is a whole explanation of how this works. So essentially, we're going to be running past Kame here. We're gonna initiate a cutscene in Yanchik Harbor, and then we're gonna turn around and do a simple errand. So what we're gonna do is, it's awesome. Samu just got through the glitch for the Napon Half Sage area. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go into our menu. Enable skip community registration, disable autosave, and then we're going to quit out of the game. Essentially, Shamu's going to eventually quit out of the game. And what that'll do is the game will remember that we want to skip cutscenes for, like, as you see right now, we're watching the cutscene to like for the community registration. We want to skip that because over the course of the run, we have to do that a bunch of times, and it'll save a lot of time if we can skip it. So yeah, see, Shem just quits out of the game, and essentially what the game does is that it remembers that you want to skip the animation for getting community members, but because of the way it loads in, technically you haven't even told it that yet. So what it's going to do entirely is just completely skip the menu because it doesn't know what to do.
It's a very precise time to be saving and loading and all that.
Oh yeah, it's another one of the big differences. I believe this was worked on a lot by Tyler. It's Tyler, who will be also talking about a little bit later in the run, as there is an NPC with a similar name.
Glitch hunters are incredible, just spending hundreds if not thousands of hours trying out theories to see if they're, something that's theoretically possible when looking at the code is actually practical to achieve. It's wild, the things that they find.
Hmm.
Laura getting her stats.
So it's great that Samu got through that. It's such a difficult part of the run, so it's awesome. Like zombie hover is truly difficult. There is some other difficult stuff in the glitch list category that you have to do as well. They're a bit less strenuous, but there's still some cool skips in that category without major glitches.
Mhm. I think also, like, in the few fights that we've actually gotten into, you've been able to see that Abyss Vest, I think, Abyss Vest, Rigid Vest? Sorry.
Yeah, Rigid Vest. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
Pretty
Rigid
much,
Vest. That has already come in handy, where in the boss fights that we've seen, we've already gotten low on health several times.
Yeah, there's actually a fight in a little bit in Gormott that if you get crit, you're just dead and you can't do anything about it. So, yeah. We'll talk
So
about that
just
in a little
notice how much damage we're dealing just now. This is the first fight that we've done since the start, and yeah, we just kind of destroy everything really fast.
Yeah, those the silver
basically,
chips
like-
wouldn't work.
Yeah, those chips are post-game chips, and we've got them from the start of the run. It's
Exactly.
really wild.
Yeah, just
But-
kind of a case where the stats you get from core chips just can affect so much.
It's kind of similar to Shining Star chips in Xenoblade 2 base game. We get those kind of early around Chapter 5 earlier via a little bit of a skip with yours truly, a zombie hover. Yeah. So-
Why is Massive Melee Mithra not used in speedrunning? I used to know the answer to this question, but I've forgotten it with time.
It's not that much of extra damage, so it's just not worth spending the time to see the little cutscene to get it. Basically,
Okay. I remember that in the early days it was used, but they realized that it was really luck-based if the increase in damage would actually help you that much.
yeah, that as well. And like again, most of your damage output is Jin anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, Jin is he is definitely one of the strongest blades in this game. Probably the strongest. So Shem has just moved on to Gormott. This is obviously Gormott 500 years before Gormott in Xenoblade 2 with some jazzy music.
We're gonna have the there's a thing in the chat.
Oh.
So yeah, Gormott. The main reason Gormott is quite a scary place, and quite an interesting place rather. In Torna is because there is a lot of things that we need to pick up in order to do all the side quests that we'll want to do. Like compared to the rest of the game, I think at some point we have to track about 16 items at the same time, 16 different items at the same time, and so we've got to track the amount of items we get, and therefore make our routing accordingly.
Our audio is going to be muted here for just a couple of seconds. It'll be fine though. We'll be right back. Just had a tech issue.
I will let them know in chat as well.
Got to reset right there. Ooh, Rayman Legends, great game.
So I believe we're okay. Hopefully,
Okay.
I think so, right? Should be.
My phone. Where's that?
This is becoming
My
addictive.
reminder went off.
Perfect. We're good. Thank you, Bowie. Okay, so no problem. So yeah, as kind of Legrand just talked about, we are in Gormott, and this is a super large collection section of the game. We're going to be looking for a lot of things here.
The binding's done.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole trip, to be honest. It's really just a lot of management here.
This section's nuts. Like, there's so many useful items here. Early game stuff. There's sticky stick insects for later stuff because that makes the best item in the game.
Yeah, the Aegis. Funny enough,
Yeah,
the name is
when,
pretty funny.
We get the ability to craft the Aegis, not the Aegis itself, but just a piece of paper without the Aegis.
Yeah, exactly.
It's complicated. That is the best pouch item in the entire game. So we're also setting up for some really late game stuff here by just collecting all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things all in one place, so you can go after multiple objectives at once. I have so much respect for how many numbers are being kept straight in their heads right now.
Yeah, I can't even manage it as talking. It's just it must be even harder to do it as a runner. They're managing a lot of items, and they have to keep in their mind what they need for later, based off what they got and what they didn't get.
I could start rapid firing a bunch of numbers off the top of my head to be a dick, but I won't do it.
Yeah, it's truly a number crunch for these runners. It's really impressive. The routing for this is awesome.
I feel like in a live. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
No, I feel like in a live race like this, it's kind of worth it to just open the pause menu for 5 seconds to like make like we just saw right there, just to make really sure, because this is you don't see races or marathons for world record times.
No, you saw right into the future there. Shem had to open up his menu to keep track of what he got. A vision, yes. Yeah, so it's one of the most integral parts of this run. Being able to manage that, it's honestly a super impressive skill.
I was so glad that I got to physically be there for this series' debut at GDQ last year. It was such a fun experience being able to commentate for this game, and I thank Anel and Legren for inviting me on to do that with them.
Yeah,
it was awesome, and hopefully there is going to be more GDQ appearance of these games. Talking about it, next week at ESA there is going to be the Xenoblade 3 race that we're going to see between Plex and Quad. They're both going to do a relay of Xenoblade 3, so they will be showcasing the game as well.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up is our first boss, I think.
Yep, we're gonna be fighting Bridget and Hugo.
Normally, Bridget's break resistance is kind of an issue, but because she's so low leveled, it's not so bad.
Also, we've got beta scope and everything. So
that beta scope is so integral. That beta scope is like a huge part of this game. Is the fact that you can guarantee breaks. So Laura is one of the only ways to get breaks. So it's just so important.
Swallow's Flight is awesome because you can just attempt the break as many times as you like, in addition to her lowering enemy break resistance.
Yeah.
Just like that, the ads are gone already.
Exactly. Mithra used one of her attacks to decimate them. They're done. Yes, they are done. The infamous but best voice line ever.
Oh, I love it. I was like everyone else. I was devastated when they patched that out. We're getting a tutorial, even though she's got a sliver of health left.
Yep, and that's Bridget done for Shem.
I like how in both games you fight Bridget with a couple of soldiers in Torgoth because she mistakes you for a criminal.
Yeah.
Just a little fun there with the whole past lives thing, having more parallels than you'd expect. Ah!
I'm certain it'll be worth it in the long run.
All right, so that's done. Now we've got Hugo's team, and Laura is going to leave our party for a bit. And we are not going to care about her because it's fine. We've got Jin.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Jin is very, very good. Jin is amazing. So
we are picking our. No, we're ignoring her.
Yeah, but we will get Hugo soon enough, and when we do, we'll be equipping. I believe it's either a Gion or it's probably a Gion with or actually it's probably Bridget with the gold chip, the second one that guarantees our 2 drops from pretty much any enemy, I believe. So yeah, that's a huge difference. Coming up is I believe it is another fight that's going to introduce a little special mechanic that the game decides to never tell anybody about, but it exists.
Xenoblade 2 tutorials, everyone.
Yeah, they don't exist, but this does, and it's called Just Range. Just Range is when you are a specific amount of distance. So right now, Shem's going to move to the left, and he's going to move to a certain point where if you see on the bottom right of the screen, the element is going to start glowing more intensely. This means you're in Just Range, where you get a small but kind of noticeable damage increase. And the game doesn't tell you this. You never know. I don't even know how we ended up finding it, but it exists.
I 100%ed Xenoblade 2 without even knowing it was a thing.
It's crazy.
So did you say Aegean?
Aegean, yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up. I am known as the number 0 Aegean fan, and I am here to tell you that he is actively detrimental to our cause.
This is fantastic. Aegean is a character for sure.
he is easily the least important main character in base game, and then he continued to be easily the least important main character in this game as well, when I was hoping he would actually get more focus and get to be important. Instead, he's like, oh no, I just get like a side quest about liking fish, and that's all the focus I get in this one. So Aegean, if Hugo is on him, he won't keep aggro, because Aegean has the worst combination of damage and ability to generate aggro out of all 9 party members. He's basically just evasion. About the only good that could really come from Aegean at all is switching to him, causing Hugo to not die for a short amount of time. If the AI will launch if Hugo has Aegean as his active blade, and we don't want that because toppling is a lot better for speed kills, and the only reason we'd ever really want Aegean is his water orb being easier to smash with Laura and Bridget both being fire element. But we started the game with an elemental orb prioritizer, so that's kind of not as big of a deal here.
Yeah. So,
Easy
Shem
fight
just
for
did his
Shem.
next bit as well. Yeah. Go for it.
A really funny thing about this game is that the whole blade combos versus driver combos thing, and making it so that he wouldn't use launch or, wouldn't be active and all that. There's battle commands to tell the AI to focus on blade combos or driver combos so that you can command them. Those battle commands do absolutely nothing at all. There is no scientific evidence that has ever been found in the game that says that those commands have any sort of bearing on how the AI functions whatsoever. Even though, in the base game, they would focus on one or the other, there doesn't seem to be any way to actually change it. So, it's a placebo. There's not any way to make the AI more consistent for you. You just gotta know what they're going to do and when, and adapt.
It's truly a wonderfully coded game with absolutely no problems, and by absolutely none, I mean every problem imaginable.
I played the entire game without even noticing that those buttons were a thing, so I was just like not even looking in the bottom left. I would just do focus your attacks or gather around me. Those were the only commands I would use, and I didn't notice that there were 3 and 4. There were 4 different icons there now instead of just 2. So maybe it was just missed during testing because it's so obscure where you have to hold down one of the triggers and then hit a direction.
They definitely overlooked a lot of things, like in terms of honestly a lot of programming aspects of this game and base game as well. So one thing I want to touch on real quick is that in Xenoblade 2 and in Torna, you have to, if you meet a requirement for a certain skill and you have it unlocked, you don't actually unlock and get the effects of it until you visit it in your menu. So there's going to be a lot of that during the run where the runners will look into their menus to be able to unlock the actual things that they got the requirements for. Shem, I believe, just finished Bridget. Sorry, not Shem. Excuse me, Samu.
Quite a bit behind, mostly because of the zombie glitch.
Yeah.
But this is only the start of the event, and surely there is going to be quite a lot more changes in this race. So don't worry if you are Team Agnes. I'm sure they will come back.
Mobius is just gonna change the supply lines or whatever.
We like to make our little jokes that Aegean is a Mobius A.
I would love it. I'd love for him to get any focus at all, and it just all revenge for how he was treated in the past. But
me too.
What you were saying about the charts, I have kind of a unfortunate story about that. So I got tired of looking at my charts on my first playthrough every few seconds because I kept unlocking new skills. So I eventually said, whatever, I'm just not gonna check them, and I'll just unlock stuff passively. So because of that, I finished the game with all of Mithra's skills at level 1 and thought she was laughably weak compared to Pyra and didn't get why she was portrayed as strong in the cutscenes.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. That's
so I just stuck.
Hilarious.
I didn't feel like Mithra was good until I had, the third sword, so.
That is so funny. And honestly, that story should encapsulate the idea of tutorials and Xenoblade 2.
Yeah, no, I played the whole game not knowing what the heck I was doing. I didn't know pouch items were good. When I saw art recharge up by 0.1, I assumed that sounded terrible because, all the other things boost things by 50%. Why would I want something that's 0.1? There's... Oh gosh, what else didn't I know? There were so many things I did not understand. Of course, just range, we were talking about. There's... Yep. I was losing fights consistently to things 10 levels below me, and I had no idea why I was so weak.
Yeah, the game just doesn't explain anything, honestly. One thing that you mentioned there that I want to touch on is the fact that you can go through this whole game without even knowing any of that at all, and that's like it's just the essence of Xenoblade 2 at this point.
So we can see on Samu's side the fight against his her adoptive father quickly destroyed, and we got to see a cool button that Samu was about to press, which is Laura's turn dot, which allows her to refresh all her hearts at the cost of half of her HP, which is pretty good, especially when you're OP and you can just take all the damage and just deal so much damage in return.
Here Shem is hunting for an infamous collectible. We need to get Ferris Beast Meat. We need quite a lot of it. I think it's needed for a quest and also for crafting a thing. So you gotta collect a lot of it. If we can get 2 per kill, that's great. And then by luring enemies in nearby, we can not have to begin the fight for every single one of them. We can just have it all be one fight, share the same golden thread, all that stuff. The golden thread's not as big of a deal because we got the hunter's chemistry though, but it's still nice not having to just start so many fights individually.
Yeah, and in this case, the opening art also plays a factor because we want these little enemies to die quickly. So opening art makes that easier, so they can just get these collectibles and move on.
Yeah, just bop them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
because we've got all the gold chips on our characters, getting the double meats is actually guaranteed. So it's just a matter of routing in the enemies and not just routing around the RNG here. So that's
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's a really, really nice thing about the glitch category is you just need to route in enemies, and that's a lot more consistent compared to glitchless.
I was just saying, I knew that it was an increased chance. I didn't know it was a guarantee of 2
Yeah.
drops every single time.
It's guaranteed for 2, and and like Legrand just said, it's really like it's truly a big difference between the glitched and the glitchless, because in glitchless you also have to like on top of routing collection points, which still has RNG in glitched, you have to route in enemy drop RNG. So this kind of eliminates the enemy drop portion. You still have to route it in, of course, and actually get the drops. But in terms of depending on RNG for them to drop, it should be okay. It's just the collection points that you have to worry about still.
I think games with heavy RNG make for fantastic races because it means that every run is going to have on-the-spot decision-making, contingency plans, what is your best bad option when the numbers just do not cooperate, and I think that your ability to manage that, figure out what the risk assessment is, and how you adapt to whatever the game throws at you, I think that that is what shows if you are a truly good player at a game and not just, necessarily just repeating a sequence of inputs, which is hard, but I think that on-the-spot decision-making makes races even more interesting to watch.
Yeah,
And really, that's what's so interesting about Xenoblade games, because it's not just for Torna where you have to manage your collection points. Every Xenoblade game, the better you get as a game, the better you can understand what's happening, what shouldn't be happening, what is going to happen, and therefore change your plan, change your decision making on the spot for battles, for menus, mostly for battles, and therefore adapt and therefore be more consistent around your fights than anything else. And that's how most of the very, very good players at the game manage to be at top level is because they manage to make things more consistent, and therefore on the long run it works out better.
Exactly, and the adaptation is really important, being able to adapt on the fly, and that is a skill in itself. Something I want to point out is there is a certain item called the Puzzle Tree Wood. This is an infamous item in Xenoblade 2 base game, and it is also important in this game. They're going to be looking for that. They're going to be looking for muscle branches. I believe Shem kind of just went through a little bit of the collection points for that. One thing I want to talk about is field skills. Obviously, field skills are widely hated, but they're important for this.
Way better in this game, at least.
In this game, they are absolutely improved, especially because you don't have to depend on gacha RNG for them. But yeah, so as the run progresses, Shem and Samu, they'll be doing certain requirements and certain collection points to unlock these upgraded field skills on their blades, which will further increase the amount of collection points they get from collecting later on.
The nice thing about field skills is that as long as you have all the blades in the game, then you just have access to all of them at all times. No menu swapping, none of that. they drastically reduced the number of field skills. Some of them even got combined, where agronomy and botany are now just one skill, where it's Bridget's botany.
Yeah, it's truly like it's a significant improvement, both as from a speedrun sense and from a just a casual sense of playing from Torna to base game.
Yeah, I don't think I was the only one who just always had a strong dislike for Godfrey because he's the only blade with 0 field skills. So if you want to try to level him up, then you're swapping blades ever more often due to just having one spot with no field skills.
Yeah. So
good boy Godfrey, no one loves you.
Godfrey is just
Sorry.
laughably bad. He got the worst story, the worst quest, like the worst element, the worst weapon class, no field skills.
he got
And then
treated so badly.
His battle skills contradict one another, where he's at his best at 30% health, but he heals himself out of it constantly. It's laughable. Like they gave him the worst of everything. It's weird. I think the only good thing about him is maybe his heart to heart.
Honestly, yeah, his heart to heart is pretty good. So right now we're kind of just going through Gormott, getting the rest of our collectibles. Shem and Samu are managing that. It's as you can see, like we've been here for a bit. It's truly a trek being able to do this.
It's an endurance run. Just the amount of time that they've been tracking all these numbers mentally all this time. Here we got another check-in right here.
Mhm.
There's like a dozen of 10 different items on screen right there that have to be checked. It's nuts.
They can't hear us, so that like the fact that that just happened is pretty funny. But,
I wonder if they'll watch this back at some point and hear what we had to say about them, and or if I'll be able to get away with just telling them that their hair smells funny.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So once we will be done with Lila's quest, we'll be also done with Gormott, and just like that, you could see the glitchy moments of Cameless, because remember we did that glitch at the start of the run, where we skipped the first community tutorial, and therefore that completely breaks all the quests handed. So there is no collective. No community pop-up showing up, and instead it's just opening the menu and you can just do menu stuff instead.
If I can,
Go for it.
if I could just interject really quick, I love that quest. My first adventure, Lyda's whole quest and how it gives lore to various landmarks that were really basic in the base game. It's just an awesome quest. The characters are likable. We skip over all that though, but I just wanted to say that really quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the attention to detail that they did there for sure. So maybe we I think Shem might be coming up on that the kind of scary fight, but like it shouldn't be scary, but kind of is. I can't recall. But essentially this fight here with one of the Ardanians, he has the chance to one-shot you, just straight up. This isn't quite it yet, but they have the chance to one-shot you.
He begins the fight by shooting you. It has unlimited range. He'll just do it at the beginning of any fight before you even get up to him, and if it crits, then you just lose.
Yeah, I believe it's an 8% chance. So it's pretty insulting if it happens to you. Like it's like, wow, that just it's got an 8% chance to just die without no counterplay.
Yeah, he just took one look at you and went, "You're done!"
Yep. He did it in style. One thing I want to talk about is that they got some both of them had gotten the outdoor attack up ox cores. This is important because you're kind of doing like almost all the fights in this game outside.
Yes.
So that'll just be a flat damage increase on every fight.
There is one area, very end of the game, with only a couple of required battles at all that counts as indoors. It's funny though because it's laughable. They give you indoor attack up ones as quest rewards near the beginning of the game that you will never use, and they do it several times. I don't know what they were thinking there.
Yeah.
Laura just survived
Barely.
just enough HP, no crits, were good.
Yep. Something to note about that as well is they start. Sorry to interject. They start on Laura because Jin will get one-shotted even if it's not a crit.
Bathine right there, who we just took out, got through the fight fine. He's also a bit of lore because there is a tower named after him in Mor Ardain in the present day, and he ends up being like a really big shot soldier in this time.
That
And
actually
considering
didn't
how
know.
hard he can hit when you see him at first, I can understand that. The best part, going back to the indoor materials that you can get in this game. So the best part is we are actually going to skip all the indoor fights because of the glitch that we did at the very start.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
So extra
we
useless.
skipped the final dungeon. Yeah, we completely skipped the final dungeon.
Oh right, yeah, because
Yeah.
we discovered the thing. Yeah.
So in glitch list, you go through the final dungeon. You do a skip called Blue Gate Skip, which is pretty infamous as well. But we're gonna be literally skipping all of that, which is the bulk of the indoor fights. So yeah, outdoor attack up is pretty universal.
Yep.
Yeah, like the few indoor areas in the game that do exist outside of that just don't even have fights in them. Stuff like the Torna Matrix.
We'd be more than
Mhm.
happy
Yep.
to assist.
And so yeah, we're done with Gormot on Shem's side. Samu, I think, is finishing up latest quest.
Yeah, and then we're gonna be moving on to Aletta. Aletta is the home of one of our main characters, Adam. He lives there. He has a house there, and it's kind of his domain.
Because turns out he's a lord. He's not just a random commoner. And
I really loved what they did with Adam's character, how they history remembered the deeds, not the man, and how he was never really the heroic type. He just was a nice guy who wanted a quiet life, but everyone else wanted him as their leader.
Absolutely.
And there was just so much corruption going on in Torna that, you know, it wasn't hard to see why people would just naturally come to that conclusion. I love that.
It's so well done. The way they present
he-
him in this game is just fantastic.
I mean, he does becomes a Mishra's driver and is a hero who is supposed to defeat Malos. Because, reminder, that's basically the story here. So Malos is trying to destroy the world, and Mithra, with Adam, is going to defeat Malos, or try to. Well, we know what they're going to manage to do because that's 500 years in the past. And we also know what's going to happen. But yeah, for now, who knows? The heroes don't really know if they're going to succeed.
I was also just so glad that they didn't have Adam's model in the code or whatever, so when people tried to like hack the face, they couldn't find it.
Yeah, it just didn't exist. Yeah, it was nice to have like a reveal of him when they first introduced the trailer for Torna.
Yeah, the E3 presentation was so hype.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're in Aletta. There's to no surprise to anybody, there are more collection points. This is gonna be a constant throughout the run. I guess we should kind of talk about community because it's gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be important soon. Community. We all love community. Everybody loves community, and we all love being restricted.
I mean, I love the Xenoblade community. It's great.
Yeah, this community is just slightly less great. Torna community is pretty restrictive in this game. Essentially, before you fight the final boss, you have to get to community level 4, and that you shall do by completing various side quests.
The worst part is that even if you have been diligent, you've been exploring absolutely everything, and you've done every side quest possible, the game's all like, ooh, I see you've done 35 side quests, but until you've done 45, you ain't viewing the next cutscene. It does that multiple times where it doesn't matter if you've done everything up to that point, it still gates you.
And we've done quite a bit up to now as well. And we'll still have to grind a few more side quests at some point later on, when that is going to pop up.
Yeah. Right now, Shem is going to Shem is working on some side quests, and then after I believe another story prompt, there is going to be a very important fight. We'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah,
Well, there's
community.
another fight before that, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. There's a small fight, and then there's the very important fight that gives us another character as well. We'll be talking about Minoth later.
So that cutscene right there is a cutscene that you probably remember if you played Xenoblade 2 and you remember the lore.
Yeah, this is actually that's one of the flashbacks that happens in Xenoblade 2. They recreated it, and you get to experience it firsthand in Torna.
It's a really mysterious cutscene, I feel, when you see it in base game, because Mikhail's just there. It's obviously him, but you have no idea how the heck he's there, foreshadowing of who he is.
Mm-hmm. Mikhail is such an interesting character, probably one of my favorites. He's just so well executed.
Samu,
My
tanking's
God,
a hit.
I
He's
feel like
fine.
Yeah, he's
Mikhail
Samu's
is-
okay, I think. If he gets the break, he should be good. I think.
He's
It's
not
not-
getting the break.
Ooh.
Oh, there he
okay,
goes.
thank
Good
gosh.
try.
Okay, and Jin got the topple too. Ooh. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mikhail and especially Hayes were characters that as I was playing through the base game of Xenoblade 2, I didn't care about them at all. And by the time I'd experienced all the material that both games had to offer, I was just like, holy crap, these characters are good.
This is so fantastic. I love Mikhail. I think he's just so well executed when you get the whole picture.
It's so funny though, because when I first saw Fan Lenorn, as we knew her, I kind of didn't like how she came out of nowhere, how she just like waves a wand. It's like, hey, I have a magic wand that makes blades not work and resolves the conflict at the end of chapter 4 just conveniently. And then I remember I just took one look at her and I go, that power is way too convenient for the heroes to have on their side. Either she's dead or she's going to be evil. No other way about it. It's going to be one of the two. And then when we no longer had her on our side, I was just like, yep, there it is. And
Yep.
I didn't think I would care about her at all, but then the endgame Kaneda base game was a huge deal, and then this game also just was such a big realization moment, I would say.
Yeah.
So this fight is required in order to progress, and it's going to once again be done very quickly. Samu is finishing Gormod on his side.
Yep.
Goggles
And
are
he's
always
going
rough
to
'cause they
start Alita.
they tend
right
to do
about
like
one,
single high-powered hits. Oh, sorry.
Yep. Starting Alita right when Shem is leaving it pretty much. Nice mash. So at this point, this fight is pretty much just press buttons and you win.
And Goggles do a lot of damage as they hit you sometimes, so...
Yeah, they definitely can. I guess one thing we should talk about in that regard is the Vanguard switch. Kind of, there's another effect that you get when you Vanguard switch. So as you probably saw on the health bar for both runners here, there is a blue portion and a red portion. The red portion doesn't necessarily so it means that they've lost their health, and if they were to get hit again for whatever damage they have remaining, they would die. But if it's red, you can Vanguard switch and kind of recuperate some of that health that you would have lost, and you can get it back. It's just another one of the various Vanguard switching mechanics in this game. So I believe Shem is coming up on
Yep, big boy Jaggeron.
yeah.
Well, there is going to be a
Level
little bit
wars.
of farming beforehand because we need a few collectibles once again. And
Yeah,
these collectibles are only pretty much available at this point because we need to kill a few monsters. Oh wait, no, we are going.
I think
No,
he's
yes,
going to
right,
drop down
right.
for the nest, I believe. Yeah, there we go. So these nests, obviously, this is a worry in glitchless because you don't get guaranteed drops, but in this, we will get them no problem. I think he has to kill one more, and we should be good.
And also, Ziaz don't have time to spawn because Jin's just broken.
Yeah, Jin is truly a powerful menace in this game for our side.
Oh, we did get both of them. Oh, nice. He killed
Oh, it's the third one. Yeah. Yes, so it should be good now. He should have them all. There you go. Yeah,
Five
it
of
was
them.
5. You need 5. Yeah. So now he's going to be coming up on the Jagron fight. This fight is really important for a couple of reasons. There is a skill that Mithra has that we need to get unlocked. So Shem is going to go to the back of the Jagron here and attack from there. This is going to satisfy the requirement for that skill, and we should be able to get it. This is like the best way to make progress on that skill in the entire game.
Skill from the
Satisfied from
Affinity
the back,
card.
got it.
Yeah, for the affinity chart, yeah. And then so what they'll do is when it's unlocked, they'll go into the chart and unlock it. I guess we should probably touch on blade combos, driver combos, and fusion combos a little bit.
Yeah.
But actually, we'll do that after. We've got phase 2 here on Shem
We
Gen
got
for
chain,
Jagron.
yeah, we have. We're about to learn chain attacks.
And
Yeah.
we're not going to use that.
Nope.
Um,
Yeah.
I think it's used in like one battle, maybe 2 battles.
We use it later, yeah. But this one is,
yeah,
yeah.
It's used in a couple battles. The tutorial battle's not one of them. This guy is basically an HP sponge with that rolling claw that does tons of damage to the whole party to incentivize you to use it, but we can do it faster.
Yep. That'll kind of be a theme in a lot of the later games as well. In
I
the
think
marathon.
Rolling claw is also one of those moves that can just screw you if you're unlucky, so we got this fight pretty quick.
Yeah, the Chen got a great fight here. It can be like just like that. It's super,
Yeah.
super risky.
Yeah,
Wow,
went from full health to 71.
that's crazy on how that just happened. As we talked about, it could be good, and then it can go wrong, and it almost does.
Yeah, the Jagron is this random wild animal is one of the most difficult enemies in the entire speedrun.
It's a really it's a really important fight to do well. So that it gives us Minoth. Minoth is in base game as well. Obviously, he is 500 years younger in this game, and because he is a flesh eater, he even though he's a blade, he'll still age with time. So right now we have him in his prime, and he's a part of our party now.
Seeing these camp menus just makes me so thankful that Xenoblade 3 has a max level button.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So that's another great thing to touch on. Bonus EXP is really important in this game, especially for some of the fights coming up a little bit later. Yeah, the fact that in Xenoblade 3 you can press one button and have it auto level you all the way up, versus this game where you have to manually put each character up to the max level.
I see there's work to do.
Across the desert.
So this is an area that we actually came to earlier via the zombie jump. It was kind of a little bit of a sequence break. Obviously, the story flags weren't there at the time, but I believe Shem just went there briefly. But yeah, this is the intended point of when you're supposed to be there. We went there earlier to get a couple items and collectibles. So I believe we're just going to be doing a little bit more questing right now and collectibles. Samu will be coming up on that same Jagron fight in a little bit.
He's actually pretty close
He's
to
close.
that Jagron fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because right now it's going to be the monkey fight, and quite a bit after.
Sam's luck's been all right.
Yeah, Samu
Yeah,
actually got a really nice jump over that rock. It took Shem a little bit longer, but Samu got a really clean jump over that.
Yeah, the gap's definitely closing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, after the
sure.
very hard beginning, he's having a pretty clean run. Honestly.
Yeah.
I really want to just hear it for both of the runners right here though, because we've been seeing some fantastic playing, some fantastic number crunching, and keeping straight so many details from both sides here.
Now I'm really
Absolutely. This one is really impressive, and being able to manage that is so difficult. Especially when you have to execute it. Neither could I.
No, I've watched these runs, but yeah, I look at that and I just throw my arms up and I go, good luck.
Yeah, Torna is one of the the premier games in this series and for collectibles. Not obviously every run a lot of the runs have them, but this one has the most of it.
Oh look,
It's
Gian is
honestly
actually
not-
good for something.
Yeah.
It's honestly not a very hard run to learn, because you just pick up all the collectible points as a start, and you just go from there. You don't care about the point, the amount you need, and then at the end you should be fine. And if you're not, then you just go back to the places and you get them and you keep going.
Yeah.
But trying to get better at it, it takes quite a bit. But honestly,
Yeah.
it's one of those runs where you're just enjoying a nice RPG, chilling around, chatting with people, chatting with your chat, moving around. It's a pretty nice run. I like it. It's great.
Get out, interloper, monster.
The classic Mithra line. So Shem right now is in Hyber. That was the place that and so is Samu. We visited this place earlier. Kind of sequence broke the game in a sense, like I mentioned.
Spent a lot of money on some accessories right there.
Yes, exactly. I think it was at least 10,000. I believe that they have to spend. This is also to upgrade one of Hayes's chart skills. I believe it's Keen Eye.
Related to spending money in shops, I believe.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of that in this game where they're doing specific things like that at certain times to be able to get the skills when they need to and also progress quests.
I took this as sort of them adapting the generic monster quest, collection quest from Xenoblade 1 into something more interesting, where it's like you have a list of objectives at all times that you can passively do while playing the game, and I think this is just a much better take on that. Because as much as I love Xenoblade 1, I feel like one of the weaker parts of the game is that you could have cut the number of side quests in that game by half, and it would be no less of a game.
But it was the selling point. Don't you want to play a video game RPG where you've got 400 quests that you can do?
Oh boy, I love
playthrough?
Collection Quest 3 and Monster Quest 4 Part 2.
Absolutely brilliant and stylish gameplay, running around collecting items.
I mean, it makes for an interesting 100% category, but
Some of them are fairly interesting, like the guy's engagement ring that he loses in Colony 9, but for the most part, you could just skip the plot of all of those and be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Samu got a good part 1 to the Jagron, and now part 2 is going to commence. Hopefully it goes just as well. Got the break nicely there.
Ooh, Laura
Ooh,
got hit
that
by
was-
the rolling claw.
Yeah, this is gonna be close.
341.
He's gonna have to.
That-
Okay, thank
a
God
lot
Jin
of-
hit the topple.
A lot of recoverable HP. There it goes.
Yeah, exactly. That was the mechanic I spoke about earlier with recoverable HP and the red portion of the health bar.
Another thing that I guess more casual players might not realize is that Jin is a surprisingly tanky character. He has a damage reduction as one of his skills.
Woo! You got it.
Oh,
Jin died. It's
barely.
okay. Oh my gosh.
Jin just
Oh.
gets right back up.
Thank goodness. Well done to Samu there.
So-
Got that
So
fast
to
back.
explain a little bit on how damage works in this game, outside of the crazy high damage output that we have because of the silver chips and gold chips that we have on every characters. So you've got driver combos, right? So it's break, topple, launch, smash.
Mhm.
So smash at the end dealing a lot of damage, and the rest is more like here to deal incapacitation and also just to increase your damage based on the specials that you use. For example, Jin's special level 2 that we've been using throughout the run deals more damage when enemies are toppled. So that's just first the driver combo
We
that
split.
you can do when you Vanguard switch. Then you've got blade combos that happens when you just do your special. So you do level 1, then level 2, then level 3, and that's your blade combo. You have specific combos depending on the colors that you input. In base game, Xenoblade 2, it was forced to do those combos. In this game, you can do whatever, but you're still going to try to go for this special combo because it's better damage. And if you fusion those two together, you do both of them at the same time. That makes a fusion combo, and fusion combo are going to deal an incredible extra amount of damage when you use a given driver combo or blade combo. Considering blade combos is what you deal damage with, you really want to use fusion combos with blade combos.
Yeah.
On top of that, you've got fusion combo stacking, which happens when you've got an enemy, you say an enemy is in topple, and you use 2 blade combos in a row on the same topple. That's going to even more increase the amount of damage the fusion combo is going to do. And
Yeah, this
thanks
is really
to-
important.
And thanks to Adam's talent art, which is when he loses, I think, 20% of his health, to keep the driver combo going, you can get some triple stack fusion combo going on in this game much more easily than in base game, where I think it's possible, but you need some really specific setup, and that's what's used in the challenge mode, for example.
Yeah, it's
And-
in base game it's definitely it still exists. It's just a lot harder to actually get accomplished in base game. I guess this
Especially
kind of
with
is
launch.
exactly, yeah. Like the damage is like on topple and launch, your damage is increased, but in this game Adam is special, and he's the only one who has the ability to extend any stage of a driver combo. So I guess that's going to lead well into something that we have to touch on called talent arts. Every character has one. And they all have a special effect at the cost of something else. So in Adam's case, he'll be sacrificing some of his HP to extend the current driver combo happening on any given enemy. As Legrand mentioned, the triple stack or the just further stacks of specials used on a particular stage of a driver combo is going to really increase damage, and we'll be able to utilize that in chain attacks as well. We're going to see that later.
Some specifically helpful things about talent arts. Hugo has the only guaranteed aggro grab across Torna and base game Xenoblade 2, making him a fantastic tank, just being able to hold on to aggro for a guaranteed amount of time. And even better than that, because of the whole Vanguard switch system, as long as a Gian doesn't come out, Bridget's increased damage from evading attack skill, that doesn't reset from her switching back and forth with Hugo.
It's kind of also like attest to your point about Aegeon kind of being slighted with the fact that you
Yeah.
don't want him to be to be
No,
present.
Aegeon is actively detrimental to you because he resets Bridget's damage increase, which that's the worst thing about Bridget is just the fact that there's another blade that Hugo could be on that is not her that resets her damage.
It's so funny.
You know,
Aegeon-
just poor Aegeon, man. Just I can never find anything good to say about the guy. In my Let's Play of Xenoblade 2, just constantly, he was always a distant last place. In 2 different speedrun categories, he's a distant last place.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
He provides like like very little to most things. There is a funny use for him for like super bosses in this game, especially on Bringer of Chaos mode. But like that's where his usefulness stops, and like not many people do that. So
when you get up into the most extreme difficulty, the fact that he doesn't take damage like as soon as you switch into him, that can make you legitimately not die once. Like ignoring death one time is good if you just don't have any other way to do it. So he's not totally useless, but yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, like he's like you, and even then, you'd be better off just controlling Jin and Laura, do more damage.
And there's other ways of ignoring death, like chain attacking or a level 4 special that are
Exactly.
just any character can do.
Yeah. So one thing we didn't really mention yet, but obviously Shem has been in Orasco for a little bit. That is the capital of Torna. It probably has one of my favorite area themes in the entire series.
Listen to it while studying sometime, please.
Oh yes, it's so good. Right now they're both Shem made his way back to the desert, and Samu is making his way up to Orasco. Basically, they're just doing some questing right now for more collecting and to contribute to community even more.
So here we're chasing some Armu tracks through the place. Rather than skip traveling around, we're getting items on the way to kind of continue the efficiency there over what it might immediately seem like if we were just trying to complete one quest quickly.
Exactly. That's the thing with this game. There's always like 4 different things going on in the runner's head in terms of what they're keeping track of for all these different quests, because there are a lot of quests to complete, and we got to get as many things done as at once and on the go in a way that makes sense as possible.
That's why I love Torna, is because between the musics and how like simple the quests are after Jagran, it's just so nice, You're just playing a nice game. You're enjoying your life. It's great.
Yeah, you can kind of chill. It's kind of like almost like the game makes its own segments for you. You got a portion of story, then you got some quests, then you got more story quests, and then you've obviously finished with story. Yeah, so there we go. Samu is now in Orasco.
I rag on the community I rag on the community quite a lot though, but I get why they did it. They wanted you to care about the problems of the people in these towns and understand just how alive this place was all that time ago. I get why they did it. It's just
Sometimes it can be annoying for sure. I think the biggest problem is just the restriction. It's that you're forced to do it. I think if it was there and you weren't really forced to, it wouldn't be as bad. But you are forced to,
or at least lower the requirements on it, because that's my biggest issue. Is you can do every side quest and it still gates you.
I enjoyed it.
I like it. I think it's just probably like kind of a mix, personal preference and stuff like that.
I guess it is a bit frustrating if you want to keep doing the story, but the side quests are really cool and kind of forcing you to do the story. The side quest, sure, like it might feel like you're boosting the game length, but otherwise the game would be incredibly short and just way too short overall. And just making you go through all the side quests, learning all those about those people, is going to be even make the end of the game even more impactful, because despite helping all those people, we know that most of them are actually going to die, because the Titan that we're on is going to be destroyed by the fight between Mithra and Malos.
I remember that they touched on this in some interviews where originally this was going to be you would have played Jin's backstory as one chapter that would have taken place between the Cliffs of Moratha and Land of Moratha while Rex was knocked out. But they just kind of felt like it wasn't really working. It needed more time to really develop. It was a lot of time to spend away from the story that was in progress. And so because of that, it was split off into its own game so that it could be larger. And it's also the reason why a lot of Jin's backstory just gets told in a few flashbacks across the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That also explains why I felt so uncomfortable playing as Jin, with Jin in the Land of Moratha, because I got extremely confused casually as to why suddenly I get to play Jin. Like, he's not a good guy. He's been a bad guy throughout.
I was hoping that he would stick around, and then he doesn't, and he's like so limited in like the little time you can play as him. I want to bring this up because I find this really funny. A lot of people have been talking lately about how funny it is to see people actually like happy to see Rex and stuff again after just like how much people were down on him when this game came out. But I want to bring this up. There was a time when people hated Jin and thought he was a weak villain. And that's wild to me that that was
Crazy.
ever a thing. Because
Crazy.
a lot of people criticize, like, yeah, he's just absurdly powerful. It's not really well explained why he's that powerful until the end of the game. His backstory is just told in a couple of flashbacks, and then the game is over, like, by the time they actually get around to it. I remember that. I remember that he was criticized a lot for that. And after Torna came out, you never heard those criticisms ever again.
They all ran away into the little holes that they had
I mean,
to come out of.
And this was a common opinion that I saw a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember even I thought, I was like, you know, Jin felt kind of unfinished. Like, it was a little weird that he goes out on that note, and that's just it. I remember even I thought that. And it kind of makes me wonder what unresolved plot points of Xenoblade 3 we're going to feel that way about coming up. Because they obviously intended for this whole side story to exist from the beginning. And I think that's a very compelling thought, because when Xenoblade 3 came out, I saw people going like, oh, they didn't answer this one thing. It's so awful that they never acknowledged it. I was like, no,
Yeah.
like, I don't agree. I think having a
Yeah.
little bit of mystery is a good thing. I think the fact that we do want to see some of this stuff get resolved and we have this side story on the way and it was done this well once already, I think it's pretty compelling and exciting, and I think that Jin is a fantastic example of that. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I could wholeheartedly believe that we think that Zed is like the greatest villain in all of fiction by the time we played this DLC.
Oh, I would not put it
Good
past them
luck.
to. It would be very difficult, but I would not say it's impossible.
And I
'Cause
say
that's-
this as somebody who doesn't even hate Zed. Like, I think Zed's kind of... I think Zed's good. I just don't think he's, like, the best villain in the series.
No. I mean, how do you top Malus or
It's hard to
even
top Malus and
Zanza? Like, Zanza is just a fantastic villain.
Zanza's awesome. I guess we're talking about... I guess people watching the stream know the games because
For sure.
This is a marathon. Xenoblade 2, the way that it's a sequel to Xenoblade 1, amazing. I like that it doesn't invalidate things that happened in the first game. I like that it doesn't just go, oh, you know, here's an even bigger bad than before, or any of that. It doesn't do any of that. And it takes Zanza, who I thought was, you know, a pretty good villain. I was a bigger fan of Egil. I was a bigger fan of Metalface. And it took him and made him one of my favorite characters by the end of Xenoblade 2.
Yeah, they did a great job. I just want to touch on a few things for the run. So firstly, there was a quest called Hungry for More. Shem had completed or contributed to it in terms of like what he was handing in. He was handing in some items. This quest is kind of new, and even though it's like a huge like point in the run in terms of RNG and everything, it was kind of important because it is 1 minute faster than what they did before. But there's a lot of items that go into crafting a bunch of different savory desserts, or savory dishes and sweet dishes, and you use those to contribute to the final point and complete Hungry for More. Now Shem is working on the gargoyle fights. This is kind of a whole sequence here, really. We get gargoyles, Malus 1, and then more gargoyles after. These fights can go pretty wrong, pretty quick.
They're also pretty lengthy fights, I would say. These things have a lot of HP.
Oh yeah, they're super beefy.
And the big thing is that those fights are extremely scary. Like, they've got some really bad AoE damage they can deal. And what you want to do is manage to get a break. But because we've got the beta scope, the breaks are very consistent to get. And once you get the break, you get set up an ultimate aurora, so special combo with Jin. Jin is lower.
Ultimate Aura.
Ultimate Aurora topple. That is the best thing that you can do in a fight.
There you go.
Ultimate Aurora takes your level 3 special and quadruples the damage from it, but you have to have 3 separate specific elements in order to get there in the first place. It's not a versatile combo route, but
Yeah.
in a party like this where you have all the elements present, it's awesome.
Ultimate Aurora is like, you're gonna see this a lot more in the run. It's super important. It also kind of works together with the damage increase from fusions and the damage increase from being able to do more than one special on the same topple. That's gonna be like, integral. You're gonna see it used super well in Malus 2. It's really cool the way they use that damage to absolutely decimate him.
On top of that, we're also using Jin's talent art, which is consuming all the red HP of your character to boost Jin's stats. So sure, this is not going to boost that much because we're only using it on the first hit. We don't have that much red HP, but it's still going to be pretty nice boost.
A lot of people focus on Swallow's Flight, and that is a fantastic talent art, though. But Jin, Inexhaustible is good too, because it even makes him take less damage from attacks.
I think the main reason it's used here is that it's going to build your special gauge every time you use it. Nice, Evan. Second topple ultimate aura.
Beautiful, beautiful combos.
Again, Betascope makes that extremely easy. In Englishless, getting a break like that is much is much harder to accomplish. So you want to actually use Adam and Mitra in order to make the fight a little bit more consistent if you don't get the breaks.
Shem looking at the floor before opening the menu is to make load times faster, yes?
Probably.
Probably. I'm not sure. There is something that we'll talk about for that later with the Titans and loading screens. I'm not sure if that was a specific case here, but it's definitely present. Especially this game is notoriously known for its loads, and decoding around these loads are pretty terrible. So there are a lot of ways that we tend to mitigate the length of these
break
loads.
again.
Look at that, beautiful. It's gonna see Ultimate Aurora is going to be a constant from this run point onwards. I guess we should kind of talk about because we're gonna have a chain attack in a little bit. We should talk about elemental orbs.
Just to make sure, Ultimate Aura, you have to do Volt 1, which is Adam. Then you've got to do Fire, which is Bridget, and then you get Ultimate Aura.
Yeah.
So you can have one special for me, one as a team, which just works, and it makes sense design-wise because Jin is your biggest damage output. So that's why it just works.
Yep. We got a
Very
save for
design.
Shem here, coming up on Malos 1, I believe.
Yep.
Here we go. So, chain attacks. We're going to be introduced to them here for... we kind of faked you out with the Jagron fight. It kind of wants you to use the chain, but we don't. Here, we're definitely going to use it. So, in this game, your party members cover the elements in this game. I believe it is 9. And everyone has their own unique one, except for Laura... Yeah, 8, except for Laura and Bridget, who share fire. Essentially, unlike base game, in order to get a... elemental orb applied, all you have to do is use that special in this game. In base game, you have to use a full combo to get that orb. But in this one, you can use one special and it'll immediately apply the orb.
Yeah,
Samu's starting
this game is a skill called Orb Master.
Samu's
Yes.
starting the Gargoyles again, much closer than what it was at first after starting Gorma.
Yeah, he's been able to be consistent to catch up. Here we got the chain attack now.
Attack
So
number 1.
yeah, basically in this game, you've got obviously you see the orbs at the top there. Each orb has 3 HP, and you have to hit them essentially either 3 or 2 times. The case in which you can hit them 2 times to break it is if you use an element that is opposite of the one on the chain. So for example, you just saw Hugo break the electric element. That's because electric and earth are opposites to each other, and when you have the opposite character use the opposite element of the one in the chain, it'll guaranteed do 2 damage and guaranteed to target it as well.
Is our elemental orb prioritizer on Mithra or Bridget? I know that
I believe it's on
have one.
Bridget.
Okay, yeah, I know it's on Bridget in any percent
Yep.
glitchless.
That timing was perfect. Samu actually just put it on Bridget as well.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even intend that.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's on Bridget so that if we just so happen to not get good luck, Bridget will always hit the most damaged one so that we can still get it anyway.
Exactly.
Basically, they're for safety so that our chain attacks don't become super luck based.
Yeah, because if we can't guarantee them, then we kind of just lose at points. Like right now, Malos is going to get a little bit of overkill here with the next Mithra attack.
Bosses, getting overkill on bosses is a great part of Xenoblade speedrunning, because you can double, triple, quadruple the experience points that you get out of them, and bosses tend to give you enough for a level up.
Yeah, it's really important for SP as well to upgrade your skills. So yeah, we got Samus starting on the gargoyles.
Soon.
Yep.
We're in the same
for
segment right here, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, Shem, I believe, still has. Yeah, it should be. I think he has a couple more gargoyles to fight, and then reach the split for him.
He's got all 3 to fight. Still, he's on the first one. Got the break just nice. Now we're waiting for Bridget to get her flame bolt up.
There you go.
So have to go for the double and break again. Didn't work because
get that,
Elemental
so
Breaker is up.
Oh yes, that's something we have to touch on. When that move is
Double
that.
Blaster. Oh no.
So that move essentially nullifies all application of effects to the gargoyles. It's one of the reasons why they can be so infamous. We got Ultimate Aura, so Shem should be clearing this this gargoyle in just a moment.
Right as the gargoyle awakens too.
Yeah.
Really unfortunate death from Samu. He got quite unlucky with Bridget not getting her tier 2 flame bolt ready, and then not being able to break again.
Yeah, that was incredibly unfortunate.
Now this is just working much better. Cannot break gets a break.
Yeah.
Oh
this,
my god.
Oh gosh. Oh my
is
goodness.
unfortunate.
But both sides are okay. Shem is set now. He should be fine.
Yeah, have to use Ultimate Aura here in
the
order
launch.
to survive.
Might not play out exactly as planned.
It's
but
definitely
there
for
you go.
neither of them. He still got
Oh wow!
it, so they're
He
good.
got the smash on the ice 3.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
He got
it's
the
still
animation.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah. So Shem is complete with the gargoyles for now.
down.
Hopefully Samu can bring this back. Yeah, these fights are really tough, and a lot can go wrong.
Oh look at G, and I wonder why this isn't working. I'm kidding. I can't blame anything. I can't blame everything on the worst son, but it's still really funny that when this team is like not coming together, it's when Aegean's out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Bridget is just not working out, and like first fight is because Bridget didn't build her special fast enough, and second fight just
Jin keeps
Laura
getting
not building her, not getting breaks 3 times in a row, even though
Samu
she
just
has
can't
better
catch a
scope.
break.
Thank goodness Samu was able to finish that. So here on Shem's side, we actually have a little bit of a skip. Normally, you have to go through an elevator to get down to the Torna Moon. Actually, he didn't.
Oh,
So
got
one thing I wanted to-
impatience.
Exactly, yeah. So one thing you do is when you jump down there, you're supposed to wait a little bit on the edge. You'll see it in just a second here, this edge. You wait a little bit for your HP. Yeah, see, Shem is waiting this time. And then you drop back down and go through Torna Room to progress the story. Yeah, that
Just
first
one
one helps-
HP tick made the difference.
Yeah, there's actually a point in Xenoblade 2 where that used to be a thing as well. It might still be a thing now. But yeah,
Alright.
the fin. It's very hilarious how that ended up working out.
Is falling based on health percentage, or can characters with more HP survive longer falls?
It's percentage, yeah.
Okay,
I believe so.
I've always wondered that. I always assumed that higher HP characters could survive longer falls, but I didn't know that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Someone can
That's
correct
why
me on that, but I think it's percentage.
no, in Xenoblade 2 we're going to see that actually.
Yeah, it's actually hilarious how it is by 1 HP in which they survive a certain jump to be able to skip kind of like a whole like running section to get to the Torna battleship.
Finally got a break. Oh,
Yeah,
but
thank goodness.
special one fire on Samu. That's going to be weird. I
Yeah,
don't know how he wants to play that.
this is gonna be a little hard to salvage. Yeah, there goes the Jin goes down.
Double blaster again. Samu really having some really bad fights and really bad RNG.
His break RNG has been
happens.
terrible, which is so unfortunate because we
Oh,
even
look at
have we
Gian.
have the beta scope. Gion's just there. We have the beta scope to like make the difference for breaks, and the fact that he can't get them is just super unfortunate.
Man, getting revived by Aegean's worse than a game over.
It's like a new level of insulting. Hopefully, you can still bring
Oh,
this
he's
back.
helping Aegean up.
He has a little bit of
favor.
meter left.
And
Oh,
Deadly
Lord,
why? Because fun, don't stay behind this guy.
Got one revive left. This might go poorly. He's
Please.
almost
It's-
done, but no revives.
If he gets
Oh,
a break, he gets a topple.
It's gonna be
he's-
close.
and
Mithra's
Dark Reaper,
dead.
Now he's dead. Now he's dead.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
this is gonna be.
This is gonna be
No,
close.
you don't.
Yeah.
Dark
That's-
Barrage is just
No.
a one-shot your team kind of deal. It's
Yeah.
just it's impossible to deal with.
This is a perfect example of why gargoyles are so hated here, and it can really be tough if things just don't go your way sometimes.
A crazy thing about these fights that I learned in my Let's Play is that if you skip travel away and go to a campsite, there's actually a fireside chat about the gargoyles destroying the city and why are we at a campsite right now.
That's fantastic. I did not remember that.
They had to write fireside
Brilliant.
chats for every little story beat in the game, and there were people in my comments that went through the game digging after every story flag to see like all of them, and there's some really obscure ones. There's ones there's fireside chats you can only see if you lose to a boss and then go at a campsite before defeating them. Like
Wow.
there's a fireside chat about like how Hayes and Laura are running from Gort for their lives. There's a fireside chat about like how they tried to save the city from Malos but failed, and they have to regroup themselves and fast.
That's
Oh
so
my
so
God.
incredible. The detail.
Sa-
Also, this is
Samu
really
is having
unfortunate. Yeah,
It's the worst fight of his life. This time
topple-
it was his mistake.
it's a little bit better, but the topple didn't stay, and he wasn't able to get ultimate Aurora up. So that's why this fight's going
No,
longer.
he used. I think he used the special
used the level-
2 there.
Oh, that must
No,
have been
no, that's not it. He used the special 3 too early, So that's why he's dead
that's why
again,
he
because
was.
Dark Ray Barrage, you can't survive that. That's a full party AoE. And
Yeah.
that just
We have
kills
both runners
everyone.
getting a little impatient here, where they just did something just a little bit too early.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, Shem is back in Aletta, doing some more questing. It's the gargoyle
Aletta.
fight's super difficult.
We're grouping a little bit. They might be able to get another revive right here, which
Oh, unfortunate.
could... It's gonna be... No!
Oh,
Machine gun to
gosh.
death.
It's so brutal.
Yeah.
Late game, there's a lot of community members that are free, like Benny right here. So a nice little way to top yourself off, make it so you don't have to do a side quest for every single one of those entries.
Yeah, Benny. Obviously, yeah. Some quests, or well, a lot of quests in this game have multiple community members when you complete them. Some quests have one, some quests have two, and you know you can continue onwards.
I find it so funny how the conspirator
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a great one.
It's fantastic. Yeah, this is great.
All right. Get this break, Samu. You got this.
You know, after
we go.
conspirator McNeff, you know, gets their new identity, I wonder if they're just like.
Oh my god.
Did he have the topple? Oh no.
He missed on the
Oh.
Vanguard switch.
Oh my, missed again.
So
Everything is going wrong. but
Oh,
at
thank
least
goodness.
it was still on the break, so that's still good enough.
Yeah. So essentially, what
just
happened?
Break
there-
was just enough.
Yeah. So Jin missed the Essentially, I talked about earlier, when you Vanguard switch with Jin and an enemy is broken, you can get to the second stage, which is topple, because Jin Vanguard switch applies topple. The topple missed. So
Ugh.
thankfully, that was still the break was still enough, but that could have been really unfortunate considering how all the other topple and break chances have gone for Samu here. It's been really unfortunate luck for he's missed so many breaks.
Gargoyle number 3.
Hmm Yeah, so there's definitely.
I love the
conspirator
stutter
gap now.
step, just that when you
Oh,
just wanna
that's
build
true. We
up an
didn't even
art.
touch on that. Auto attacks and animation canceling. This will be something that the Xenoblade 2 runners and commentators will be, or the commentators will be speaking about later. But essentially, in this game, you have auto attacks. Stages 1, 2, and 3. You are able to attack and then move your character so you cancel the remainder of the animation after your hit has registered. This can speed up the rate in which you gain arts, and in general is just a great tactic to use to speed up fights.
There are downsides to it, like later auto attacks will give you bigger damage for canceling out of them, but if you just really need an art right now, especially in the early game when there aren't a lot of ways to recharge your arts quickly, it's instrumental to being able to play quickly.
For sure. I guess we can talk about the Aegis as well. It'll be going up soon, or well, not soon, but it'll be coming up while Shem is questing. Essentially, the Aegis is so in base game, party pouch items are really important for regenerating arts quicker. But in this game, it's a bit different because you can already get arts a little bit quicker from other various methods. So the best types of pouch items in this game are going to be damage increase pouch items, and that's what the Aegis is going to do for us.
The Aegis is an art, yeah, it's a recharge while also boosting the damage of specials at the same time. It's awesome. You're going to be
super
earning
good.
You're going to be earning your specials quicker from just having arts available to you more often. It's going to speed up combat as a whole, and then you're doing more damage. Shut up, phone.
So it looks like Samu has the break on Malos here. Okay, he got the ultimate aura. Perfect.
Ultimate
As-
aura on stacked break as
Yeah.
so like having a fusion stack on
Let's just take a peek.
of 2 compared to just a fusion on a topple, so it's actually better damage. So because the stacking fusion is better than having better driver combo for damage.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, as we talked about
Um,
earlier, when you stack it, you get more damage. When you do more specials on the same stage of a driver combo, that damage is increased, and that's why actually they chain right after that combo is done because they want to keep that break for as long as they possibly can.
Because the fusion combo was still happening at that moment. So very, very big damage on that break.
Yeah, this should be good. Yeah. Sam is gonna be able to kill Malos here. Perfect. Yeah.
A lot more overkills than what
What-
Sham actually got. It's going
Yeah.
to-
It's up over 200 already, yeah.
Might be a little bit more EXP and SP from that. So Samu has two more gargoyles to deal with, and then he's
Yep.
home free from this horrendous section.
Could give a slight edge. The final boss fight's all about getting damage additives built up, so could see a little bit faster of a final boss out of Samu.
Yeah,
You still want to be under leveled compared to the bosses because Jin has an insanity shard, and it's level 3 as well.
Yeah, he
he's
has a
going to deal
gauntlet.
more damage if he's lower levels than enemies. So you still want to be lower levels than the final boss.
Yep,
So
only
have
for
to be
Laura
careful
and
with
Jin.
that.
He does have like a Hero Van Brace as a skill.
Exactly. Yeah. Then that item in Xenoblade 2. Yeah. As Legrand and Chugga mentioned, it'll be increasing your damage if you are lower level than the current enemy you are fighting. For some later fights, Jin and Laura specifically will be a bit lower level than Adam and Mithra, as well as Hugo and Bridget. This is because of that. So right now, Shem is just going through some quests back in Gormott, more collection stuff, and Samu is currently working on gargoyles. He needs to get. There's no break on this. I don't know how much damage it's gonna.
What are the
It
odds
should be.
that? What are the
think.
freaking odds that two of the best Torna speedrunners have 4-letter names beginning with S?
That's so true. Oh my goodness. So it wasn't quite enough to kill the gargoyle, but hopefully, as long as it doesn't use the party wipe skill, it should be okay. Oh, it's
Beam
so
Blaster!
close.
Oh, 108!
Oh, so close.
Barely! No!
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
Could have been clutch. They were going for the HP potion, just barely didn't get to it in time.
And
Yeah.
didn't have a switch available as well. Very.
Yeah, it's just a case where the potion was the best bad option, and it just wasn't close enough.
This is truly a demonstration of what gargoyles can do to you.
Having to fight two of them at once, this is a harder fight than Malos.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Malos is easier just because of how we're able to use and abuse the stacking on driver combos to do a lot of chain damage and kill him pretty quick after the ultimate Aurora.
Fishing
So-
for the break again, and the elemental
Oh,
breaker can't break during the elemental breaker.
Yep.
That's what's been killing
Oh my God, he's
Samuel
again.
up until now. Okay, not in
Okay,
the
finally.
aggro range of double blaster.
Oh,
And so
goodness.
this time that's going to be a kill.
Booyah!
Thank God.
Double
Here
stack
comes.
double.
Yeah, this should
Okay,
kill. This is
Aurora.
that. Yeah. This
It's
will
so
be okay.
satisfying comboing arts into Vanguard switches into specials and getting the topple damage increase. It's perfect.
This game is so fluid. It just feels right when you're doing it. You know.
One of them down. We got to level up.
That's really
One
what
gargoyle.
I love about Torna compared to base game is just that like everything flows up and it flows so much faster and it just works better. I feel.
Yeah, we got Tyler on Shem's screen here. This is NPC, also one of our runners. It's Tyler's contributed a lot to this game.
This
So
is
we
the
always,
Gian's only quest.
yeah, the fish quest as well. Yeah, but we always like to give a little shout out to Tyler for that.
I like the idea of a quest that Malice fried all of the fish in the pond, so you have to repopulate it.
Yeah. Oh goodness, he's gonna be doing a lot of frying coming up soon as well. All those poor fish.
Yeah, those poor fish are being forsaken and they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm. So we finally got through the gargoyles on Samuel's side, which is awesome. We know the split there.
I totally forgot to split again.
Yeah, that's okay. I tried to weave that in. Great. So now they're both.
Bony tongue casserole. Ugh.
Yeah. So now Shem has been on this section for a little bit, but now they're both in the next major portion of questing, collecting, and completing the community to make our way to the final battle. Samu here is going to be doing the glitch, or not glitch, the kind of little skip that Shem failed first earlier. Samu waited a bit. Let's see if it's enough. Oh no, it wasn't. So just like Shem, they were a little bit impatient and
No time save.
Yeah, and they dropped down, and now they have to do it again. It's unfortunate that they just decided to not wait quite long enough. Hopefully they get it this time.
Sometimes you just gotta go slow to
Perfect.
go fast.
Yeah, exactly. Well put. So yeah, we're going to be doing various quests.
This view of the city up here from up on this tower, just want to praise that real quick.
It's truly special. This is one of my favorite areas in the game.
I
and in
like
the
when you see Oresco in the flashbacks during Jin's backstory. To cut down on load times, they just made a nondescript city that was made of Moritha like textures and models. It was really funny. When you go back and see that cutscene now, it's so obvious when you know what Oresco actually looks like that they just used Moritha assets to make a fake city.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out that Shem just did is they dropped down from that watchtower, did one of the pillars. They've done all the other pillars, I believe, or at least most of them, and that was kind of like a small 3-second time optimization, I think, made by Quad. And yeah, it's stuff like that is kind of the essence of Torna and its routing, being able to do things in the right place where you don't have to go out of the way to do them. So I guess one thing we never got to speak about was hat percent. There is a quest in this game. We actually have a category for it on SRC called hat percent, where you just play the game up to the point where you can finish this hat percent quest. You hand in the quest and you choose the hat that you like, and that's where the run ends. So I think they've both done that quest by now. But yeah, it's just a funny point.
It's in
It's a very Xenoblade category.
Yep.
I love joke categories and the stories behind how they got started. Do you know how that got started? Was it just somebody being silly one day and other people joining in?
Yeah, we kind of just like we're joking around with it. We also have kind of a similar thing for Rotbart percent in Xenoblade DE, where you play the games and you kill Rotbart. It's fantastic.
It's I'm gonna say hat percent is the happy ending of this game, because really just having nothing progress beyond that point, you just make a hat and nothing ever gets destroyed, no one dies.
Yeah, the city doesn't even take any damage yet by that point. So it actually is, you just end when you're happy, you get your knit cap or your hat, and you move forward.
Zoe, no one mentioned it, but Shem actually went for the casual hat.
Oh, he did. I didn't even see it. Yeah.
Yep.
There's the choice between the two, of course. Yeah.
So stay in this hotel.
Oh, this hotel looks so gorgeous.
The beds look a little small for me. Like, see that Nopon? He's taking almost the whole bed. I think you don't have enough room for your legs in there.
Maybe not. So we're going to be doing, I believe Shem is working on, I think this is plans for the future. I'm not sure if I'm mistaking that or not. But there are a lot of quests in Oresco that we'll be working on here for quite a bit. Yeah, there we go. Oh, sorry, helping the helper. So planning for the future is a little bit later. But essentially, we're going to be doing a lot of these quests in a way that we have planned out, so they can do multiple things and multiple objectives as they're going about the same area, so they don't have to backtrack there later. That's planning for the future. I knew it was coming up soon, so we just got that. This is the start of our Community 4 portion for Shem, I believe.
The plate is identical for Prosperous, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it should be. I believe that is, at least I hope that is the case. It's okay. The most important split obviously is the last split. But if we both split there, Legrand, it should be good. So Samu is back in Hyper Village, one of the places that we kind of skipped around to earlier, and they're going to be doing the Conspirator Macneth fight, the legend. We love Ardanians. They are truly fantastic and hilarious characters.
I forgot who they are.
The militia that uses.
Go for it. You're gonna go for it, yeah.
The militia that uses the Ardanian models and everything in the Lithurian archipelago, I didn't get that quest line when I found them yet. So there were just these Ardanian soldiers running around out on this island in the middle of the Lithurian archipelago, and I was like, what is this, like their natural habitat or something? Like the breeding grounds or something. I did not get like why they were there, and it was so confusing to me to just see these guys there. I was fortunate enough to have Xenoblade 2 before it was officially released. I was selected to receive it, and I remember that when I fought those soldiers for the first time, I'm like, this is going to be a thing. There's no way that this is not going to be the meme of this game. And I was so happy to see that I was right about that because I instantly fell in love with them.
And then they patched it out. Oh, it was a truly sad time when they did that.
We've all seen the Xenoblade 2 battle theme, but you won't forget it, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Can't forget me.
I just love it. Think you can take me. Think you can take me. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. It's so good.
Brilliant.
I love that one part where it's just like, think you can take me, take me, take me, take me.
It's honestly one of the best fan creations I've ever seen.
It's amazing. They make all of the voice clips fit.
Nothing is ever going to beat Xenoblade 1 YouTube poop, though. I'm sorry.
Crashing.
One of my favorites is the High School Musical Rhyme Time. I love that video so much.
Oh, me too.
So good.
High School Musical and Xenoblade. What a perfect combination made in heaven.
I know, right? So right now, Shem is working through repairing the city from the battle that just happened. Of course, just to go into a little bit of the story, Mallow's intent on destroying everything because of his connection with Amalthus. This is explained in Xenoblade 2 a bit more. But it's not really of his own volition. He thinks he has to do it, but it's because of the person who is his driver, and that kind of personality rubs off on Mallows. So Mallows is intent on destroying the world, and he invades the capital of Torna, Oresco. Obviously, we did that fight with the gargoyles and everything there. That is, gargoyles are Mallows' minions, essentially, and he has control of what they do. So right now, questing is kind of just cleaning that up, getting more community members, and making our way slowly to community level 4 to be able to progress and go to the final fights. I believe this is going to either complete or progress planning for the future here on Shen's side.
This section reminds me of a thing I did in my Let's Play where at the beginning of the game I explained that every side quest we're going to be seeing for a long, long time is required content. And I will let you know when we get to our first side quest because you will like, it's going to be a while. So I think I have a video that's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 episode 208. Our first side quest is what it's titled, and I was always proud of that.
That's brilliant.
I thought that was a funny one.
That is so brilliant. So yeah, we just got that completed.
That quest is fantastic. Hubby takes a hike. Basically, like there's this lady who doesn't know where her husband is, and actually he's just casually fishing in Gormod and never mentioned it to his wife, and it's been gone for so long that now she's worried about him. And when you tell him, he's like, "Oh shoot, I'm going to get destroyed by my wife," and he runs back. And that's just it. That just finds a husband. That's super easy, but it's so funny.
Quests in this game have a lot of
character. Would say.
Yeah. Like, for as much as it can be annoying to kind of have to be required to do it, they do have a lot of character, and it makes for a lot of funny moments in this game.
Very relatable too, because there's so many things that you're like, yeah, I would do that. I'd be stupid like that. And that's why, like, that's really what I love lore-wise about this game, as I said before, is that, like, you're getting to love all those characters, you're getting to learn them, you're getting to help them, and then eventually they will all die, or most of them will, and it makes the ending even more soul-crushing.
I love the quest right here where this guy, he hates how well prepared the food is when Jin makes it, so he wants Mithra to make it instead because his mom's cooking is crap, but that's the way he likes it.
It's so good, because obviously Mithra is notoriously known for how bad she is at cooking. So bad that they have to make the food dubious.
Mithra was kind of inspirational to me in that, where I was always a terrible cook, but I went through some like really bad stuff one year and had a lot of free time on my hands in the wake of it, and I just used that time to fix things that I disliked about myself. And one of those things was learning how to cook, so she was actually kind of inspirational in that way, where I thought of that, where I'm like, yeah, maybe I will do that.
That's really cool. Yeah, I don't think Mithra succeeded, but I'm sure that you were able to. Mithra might have
no, I just mean that when she created Pyra, she made sure that Pyra would be a good cook, and made Pyra like nicer and kinder, and all the things that she wished she was is like what she made Pyra out of.
It's truly special how they did that. and kind of you don't really get to see
know-
that in base game as much. But in Torna is what really shows those types of things.
I
You
think
know,
it's
I never-
incredible how. Oh, sorry.
I never thought about it that way. That how like Pyra was created by Mithra by trying to make it like the way she would like to be. And it just makes the whole duo so much more sweet.
So
Thank
what's
you
so
for that.
messed up about that is a lot of newer players, they like Pyra better. Pyra is generally the more popular one, just, you know, in the fandom in general. They've done polls on this. Pyra ends up usually winning. And usually Mithra fans are people that have known the entire story and have played the games to death and have just a lot of experience under the belt. But the thing is that with you preferring Pyra more early game, and a lot of people being kind of cold to Mithra when they first meet her, you're kind of right there with Mithra preferring Pyra, and when you realize that that was the reason Pyra was created and why Pyra is the way she is, it's really messed up.
Yeah, it kind of blows your mind. And in this game, obviously, the whole party makes fun of Mithra for not having like general social skills and being able to interact, and that's part of her character growth in Pyra. Like as Chaga was saying, like the personality that she has and being so kind of cut off in terms of being shy, kind of stems from this trauma-ish that Mithra keeps getting
You can
thrown at her.
definitely talk about trauma, but because like at the end of Torna, you can really feel that like
Yeah.
she hated what she just did.
There was a Photoshop I
that's
saw
just-
one time of the Xenoblade 2 Torna logo it said Xenoblade Chronicles 2, The Roasting of Mithra, and I thought that was perfection.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's
It
accurate. too.
is.
Yeah, so Samu just went through kind of the same little pathing optimization Shem went through a little bit earlier, with jumping down on that from that tower, going to the lamppost, and then moving back to this part of the quest. So there's definitely a considerable difference in time right now. Samu would have to make up a lot, but that's why this is a relay. We're gonna have to see how that develops throughout the entire 24 hours. Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. By no means is this over. We got lots of runs where things can go right and wrong, and a lot of leeway. So yeah,
I hope.
This
I hope
is definitely a 24 hours long run and not just hey,
Yep.
it's just Torna.
you know if your side doesn't win, there's no reason to be torn apart about it.
But yeah, like we tried to balance the team as much as we could when making this relay to make sure. Like sometimes there is going to be some runners that are going to be to have less experience, to be less consistent than others, and we accounted for that. So like the teams should be about equivalent.
Yeah, there were a lot of factors that were taken into that. One thing I want to interject real quick, that fight that Shem just went through, it's pretty hilarious. You Snow Blast the Jin AoE to absolutely destroy these enemies. It's because they're so much lower level. And then you just auto attack to finish the enemy on the left. But yeah, it's just super funny because you go back there to do this one quest and you're so over leveled, you just blow them out of the water.
Here we come full circle.
Coming
We've just
to level
unlocked
up.
the community.
Yep. Yeah, so normally and in the glitchless category, you have you don't do game skips, so you get to see all these animations every single time, but we haven't seen it at all during this run until up to then. So Shem's actually closing in on some of the last quests, I believe, because you don't really, that doesn't get disabled till like the final few. Or that doesn't get re-enabled to the final few. So yeah, we're coming up close to Malos on Shem's side.
And consider that once we hit community level 4, we're going to go straight to the final boss.
Yep.
There's no in between. Oh well, there's a few cutscenes here and there, but it's going to go really, really fast. We're going to completely skip the final dungeon, and it's going to be community level 4 straight into Malos.
Yeah, I think they're gonna drop by the Holy Gate of Fontana, I believe it's called, and they're gonna do a camp menu. So use up your bonus EXP, finalize some things with your menus, upgrading your skills, and unlocking unlocking skills on your affinity chart, and then they will fast travel to the final point before the point of no return and initiate the battle with Malos.
what's awesome is because we discovered the final landmark of the game right at the very beginning, we're coming full circle and just skip traveling back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as soon as we
thankfully
get
we
the
don't have
prompt
to
to
do
go
it again.
So
Just let me jump. Yeah.
as soon as we get the prompt to go fight Malice, we can make good on that promise in a matter of seconds.
Yep, no delays this time. Versus in Glitchless, where you have to go through the entire final dungeon, do Blue Gate skip, which is pretty infamous and very difficult. And then, again, that's one of the things that we kind of skip the indoor fights because we don't do the dungeon. So we just get full use of that outdoor attack up. So thankfully we're close. A lot of the collection stuff is no longer an issue, which is great. Like it's been really the collection management in this game, as we've said multiple times, is truly something that they have to deal with, and they do such a good job of being able to handle it. I couldn't even fathom managing all the different things that they have to remember for all the different quests.
I'm always learning.
So that's planning for the future on Samu's side, which is the...
Yeah, I got it. I remember.
Yeah. Good job.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry.
I had my hand on my mouse for about 5 minutes because I didn't know when it would come out.
Yeah, it was because we didn't decide on it beforehand, so I just wanted to reiterate it. But yeah, that's our split for community level 3 that we made. So we're going back to the tutorial section here on Shem's side. We're going to do a little bit of a quest. I believe this fight, it usually is fine. I don't think there's any major... Yeah.
You just press buttons and you win.
Yeah, like it really, it's pretty, you are under leveled, but it should be fine. We kind of abuse Laura's talent art to be able to sacrifice her health for pretty crazy archery charge. It's so good on that's on Laura as well, because the break art is just integral to everything.
And because there is break resistance, so enemies can resist break, but they cannot resist topple and launch and smash. So that's why breaking is so hard.
Yeah,
and it's basically like the big RNG point.
Yeah,
once you get through the break, you're good.
Yeah, once you get through the break, you're good, because you can only apply it in a certain order as well, of course. Break, topple, launch, smash. And what the break is really the tipping point there. If you get it, you're usually okay, as long as you don't miss the topple. And then obviously in this category, we get beta scope, which increases the break chance on pretty much everything. So on everything, your break chance is just increased flat out. Is that the last quest?
This is awkward.
I think it's a rare beta scope.
3 more people.
3 more people. Yeah. So Shem's closing in on level 4 community.
I think it's a rare beta scope that you get from that, not a legendary.
Is it a rare? Oh yeah, that's right. I think the only legendary beta scope, or it actually might be master scope, is from Laura's secret affinity tree, I believe.
You are correct. Yeah, her best break resistance is from New Game Plus affinity chart, which who is ever going to 100% New Game Plus in this game and get
Definitely
enough SP to do all that?
Yeah, but when I did that and that happened, it was just hilarious, kind of insulting at that point that you go through so much of the game only to be almost finished, and then you unlock that and you get the master scope.
There is something really funny with hey, you finish the whole game, here's your reward, in-game reward, that kind of deal. It just doesn't work. It just reminds me of how in Pokemon Emerald, right, you've got the all gold symbols thing that you have to do that's really hard in post game, and the reward for that is a freaking berry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you get a pitaya berry for all silver and then an apricot berry for all gold, which at the time that was the only way that you could legitimately obtain those berries, and they had really good effects, but modern day they've just made them so easy to get that why would you ever go back and do that in an old game?
Yeah. And especially considering how hard it is to get all gold symbols in Emerald, oh my god.
Emerald's a hard game.
It is.
It's 100%.
Speaking of symbols, one thing we didn't really touch on that is a thing is called, I believe it's the burst symbol. The burst symbol, it will increase our immediate damage upon initiating a chain attack. So it increases our damage ratio right away. We put this on Hugo because Hugo isn't really one of our damage dealers anyways, and it's important to have this increase in damage for our chain attacks moving forward. This was done earlier, but I just wanted to mention that since we never got a chance to touch on it.
He also just doesn't really have a lot of accessories that would particularly help him, so you might as well have the slot go to that.
Exactly. So we can probably talk about Malos, because Shem will be getting there soon. Malos is a two-pronged fight. You got Malos 2 and 3 back to back, and then something special after that I won't talk about till we get there. But there's the difference between the phases is kind of hilarious. The second phase has significantly more health. Like it's huge. The difference is massive between the two.
Mouse is a gigantic HP sponge. You're basically just trying to get your damage additives to keep stacking as much as possible through Vanguard switches. Just any sort of damage additives you can get going is what's necessary to get past him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I think that this is one of the few times that Aegean's actually useful, because I think we lay down every orb on him.
We do. That's exactly what I was going to get to. We lay out all the orbs to be able to get a full burst, all orb break chain attack to finish Malos 2. But Malos 1 is a different story.
I feel like, honestly, like they haven't taught, like really, the Malos fight in Torna is just such a good fight, and
it's awesome.
I really don't feel like they managed to top it in Xenoblade 3. Like 3 it's pretty epic, but Malos fight in Torna is just so epic and so insane.
Yeah, I misspoke earlier when I said Malos 2 and 1. I meant 3 and 2, 2 and 3, because sometimes I forget about the first Malos fight. But yeah, Malos 2 and 3 are pretty staggeringly different, and it'll be really hilarious to show you why Malos 2 gets absolutely devastated.
Don't have a lot left. We got our 3 other people, so we just got to go view our cutscene and get told, hey, it's time.
Yep, Shem is closing in. So just a little bit of info on like the relay structure. So essentially what's going to happen here, because it is very likely that Shemcat finishes first before Samu here. So the next run, which is future connected, will be initiated. I believe 2 of our commentators will hop off and 1 will stay on to help with the final runner who hasn't finished the game yet. And then we'll be moving on to future connected. So yeah.
I think we might see a sub 2 hour here.
Nah, no way.
Nah, you think it's just a little too much?
What are we at? Oh, no, yeah, we won't be able to. Yeah, it should. I believe this will definitely be. This will be under. I believe they're actually both hit under their estimates. So here's the final menu. As you can see, the recipe added for the Aegis. We were talking about that through the entire run. Minoth can craft this very powerful book that will increase your special damage and increase the rate in which you charge your arts. Here we got the bonus EXP. As we said earlier as well, Laura and Jin are going to be... I believe they were a little bit more... they're all under-leveled compared to Malos, so I don't think it's actually a difference in terms of relative to each other. But yeah, they're all going to be lower level than Malos, so they just fully level up here.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. As hard as we can be.
Yep. So Shem is...
put the Aegis on at least.
Exactly, yeah, we got to get that Aegis on, and also, I think... they might do one more menu. Yeah. Oh, but we didn't touch on this earlier. One of the travel points between Gorma and Torna itself is they essentially do a quest in between 2 travel points because they want to give the game time to load the new Titan that they just traveled to. This is like important because you can lose 10 seconds if you do something. If you do it in a different order and you try to teleport before you let this quest roll out, you can lose over 10 seconds on a loading screen.
There was one time where I was not able to replicate this, but in my Let's Play, I fell off of a cliff in Theoswar, and when I died, the loading screen went on for like a minute, and I respawned in Argentum. I don't know how the heck that happened.
Oh yeah, so sometimes the game is pretty finicky with its with its landmark points. So what would have happened there is that you never actually got a new landmark from the time you traveled to from Argentum to wherever you were in Tantal, I believe is how that would have to work. And the game
nuts.
just kind of just tries to recall where you were, and it goes through that whole loading screen. There's a lot of times where you can just straight up soft lock an infinite load screen in Xenoblade 2 base game.
It's like you think that the size of the landmark would be like where you fast traveled to, but I guess not.
It's so weird. Anyways, we got Malos. Here we go. It's time. So Malos 1, or Malos 2, excuse me. Malos 2. This fight is kind of hilarious. The most important point is getting a break. You'll notice that we're actually controlling Adam and Mithra this time. This is because of Adam's Talon art, which is really important to be able to extend the duration of breaks and topples. So
the other big reason we're using Team System is for Malus 3 because we want to play as Mithra for the next fight.
Malus is about to get
she's got a piece of equipment, I think it's silver earrings, that makes it so that the chain gauge is going to build faster, even faster, when she's making a special happens. And because of the way she plays, she gets a special one every time she finishes a special one. So she can spam that and build chain really fast, and we want that for the next fight.
Mithra's level 1 special comes out really fast. It's just a bunch of hits like back to back to back to back, and by doing that you can just build all sorts of things. It's a great special.
Something
it's
I
funny
want
that
to
she just swings her sword wildly, like with no rhyme or reason to it.
Oh,
that's like her best move.
Brilliant. I love it. The animation for this is fantastic. But something that happened in this fight, actually, Shem had to go for a backup. So essentially, he didn't get what he needed with the breaks and stacking the specials on that break and the topple. So he wasn't able to kill Malus right away. That caused him to have to immediately chain attack. Obviously, Malus is getting completely overkilled to oblivion here, but he's actually losing time on that because normally your ultimate Aurora would just be able to decimate him completely.
I'm so happy that Xenoblade 3 lets you hit plus to just end the chain attack if you don't want the overkill, but you just want it done.
Oh, for sure. It's a really nice quality of life thing there.
It's very
you're
useful.
Fighting weaker enemies, and it just doesn't make sense to draw this out so long.
It's also very useful in the speedrun because like chain attacks in Xenoblade 3 are very long, and being able to end them much earlier is pretty critical to the current stress. In Xenoblade 3, we'll get to see that.
Xenoblade 3 chain attacks are so special. Recently, there's been a community for getting high damage chain attacks. I won't go into much about that, but I've been very involved in that. It's been a really fun time because of the way damage capping works in Xenoblade 3.
So last artifice to deal with.
The song Over Despair and Animus that plays during this fight is incredible.
Oh, it's brilliant. That song is just absolutely fantastic. Looks like Shem should be good. Yeah, this artifice is gonna die really quick here.
In addition to just being a really good song, it shares notes with Amalthus's theme, which thematically is to die for.
It's brilliant. Especially with Malus' character and how we talked about the influence that Amalthus has on him, even not even by virtue of talking, just by virtue of the nature that Amalthus is as a person.
Here we go.
Malus 3.
This is the best final boss fight in the series, which
it is so cool.
It's so funny though because I think that base game Xenoblade 2 has the worst final boss in the series, yet this is the best one.
Yeah, it's really special how they have the artifice fighting. So Mithra has her own artifice, and they're going to be battling it out in the sky, as you can see on the top left. Ooh, we already got a death from Adam there. That might cause some issues. Essentially, you see two bars on the top right, top left. One is for Malus, one is for Mithra. You want to be able to charge your chain attack meter before Malus charges his, or else he'll be dealt damage.
Yeah, they bothered to give Malus 4 different attacks for that, where there's like 4 different cutscenes that most players will not see.
And so basically, so we have to go through the 3 special gauge, and every time we use that, this is going to be the artifice dealing damage to the other one. And once that's done, we'll be able to actually kill Malus and actually use chain attacks. And there is a really unfortunate glitch that can happen where if you use a fusion right when you trigger, or fusion is triggered right when you use that chain attack, the chain attack will be slowed down for an incredibly long amount of time, to the point where it's going to take about 8 minutes for the final one to happen.
And the reason why Legrand is explaining
we could see a lead change if that happens.
Yeah, this actually did happen to Legrand himself in a marathon.
Not in a marathon, but world record pace run.
Right.
I was going to get world record, and then that happened for the first time. I was like, oh, so this is the thing.
Yeah,
I feel for you.
absolutely insane. Was that the first time? I believe that might have been the first time you saw it, right?
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really funny. It's really funny talking about it now, but everything's not happy about it back then.
Everything
back
bad
then-
that happens to you is a funny story tomorrow.
That's so true. So as you can see, Malos has a bunch of orbs being swarmed around him. Once they get enough orbs to have a full burst, they will break him and stack. I believe it is at least one special on that break.
A small mechanic that might not be seen by casual players, when an orb is on, the enemy will take less damage from that specific element, something of a punishment for not chain attacking often enough. So we're trying to like lay down orbs on him though, but also every single orb would be a universal damage reduction on him.
And also, when an orb of an element is present on an enemy, then the AI is going to try to avoid reusing that element. So, say you are using Rigid and you don't want to use Aegeon for whatever reason, Aegeon is going to stay on screen instead of Rigid, which is kind of bad.
Yeah, you want to keep Aegeon off screen as much as possible.
Yeah, there's also just the fact that Mithra and Brigid work so well off of each other, so that's yet another reason that it just isn't good.
Yeah, Mithra is definitely one of the largest sources for damage, and even in the full burst here, I believe Mithra actually does more damage than Jin because her level 4 does more, and Jin's level 3 actually ends up doing more. So you want to have the full burst on Mithra, I believe. We'll see that soon. The Gen attack it's coming up soon. Malos is getting near the threshold where they have to get it. There's something to worry about. Like he could use Monado Cyclone, I believe, which might cause some issues. Obviously, right now he has Monado Armor on, which is going to reduce all damage from incoming attacks.
Armor! Monado
Finally.
Cyclone!
Now,
David Mencken
one more
really
chain to
knows
build in order to set up the chain full burst that we've been mentioning.
Yep.
I like that interview that was making the rounds on the internet the other day with
Oh,
Malice's
it's
voice
so
actor.
good. That made me really happy that day. It was so fantastic.
Yeah, he's just like, I mean, there's nothing canon that says that he's in love with Jin, but come on. Was that the way that he put it?
It's so brilliant.
When was
So we
your
got the break.
When was your final split for community level 4, by the way, MD?
I think Evan put it in the chat. I don't even remember what I ended up splitting on.
No, but, like the timing, so that I don't miss that.
Yeah, I genuinely, I believe. When did I don't know when I did that. I think Evan did it. Someone did it for me. That might have been the case.
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll do my
I think.
best.
Yeah, I don't recall exactly. Oh, okay. Thank you, Billy. Much appreciated.
Looking like it's almost time for the chain attack.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
It's
They got a
going to
little counter in
change
chat.
soon.
Almost time. Strike your edge. I'm looking out for Monado Cyclone to see if anything happens.
Exactly. So what we're looking for is
Armor.
that armor is going to be a little bit of a
Yeah, you don't want
issue.
armor up.
no, especially during the chain. We
Monado-
got the break.
Monado armor is way too good, both when the enemies have it and when you have it.
Incredibly powerful.
right.
Looks like Shem goes for it anyway, so I think he's pretty confident that this is going to kill regardless. So we've got the full burst. Basically, we're going to go in round order like we did kind of earlier with the other chain attack, except this one's going to be even longer.
Full
So
burst
you
is
are not. Yeah, you're not going to break all the orbs because once you break 5 orbs, that's going to finish the yellow gauge up there, and that's going to break all the orbs, increase enormously your damage ratio, and everyone is going to do one of the best attack, and your character that finished the attack is going to do a special for very, very, very powerful final damage you're going to see.
The 2 characters on the AI will do one of their 1, 2, or 3 specials at random, and I've heard that you can actually have that screw you over, where if they just choose the wrong stuff, like in some fights, it can mean bad things.
And
Yeah.
that's going to.
This should complete the burst, depending on what it hits. If it hits wind,
Go!
it'll,
Not
not quite.
That's going to be Bridget's finisher.
that's really.
Oh wait, no, Jin.
Okay,
Jin.
so this is second best scenario. Obviously, like I said earlier, we wanted Mithra to be the full burst because her level 4 does more damage, and Jin's level 3 does more damage. But this should still, I think this is still going to be enough to kill. It might be close. It's. I think we're good.
No, we're good.
This is
Yeah,
so
we're good.
tense! Oh,
perfect.
yeah!
Brilliant. Look at that. The animation, everything.
It's not time yet. It's not,
Not
quite
quite
time
time.
yet. We have a little bit more.
Yeah, a little special.
True final
there
boss.
could be time losses on this, but you don't actually die.
Yeah, so coming up is Gort 2, the final fight of the run. It like Chaga just mentioned, it is impossible to die. And actually, in this case, we're going to be dying on purpose because it ends up being faster. The reason for this is when you die, you get all your arts charged and everything is recharged for you. So once you go back to full HP, you have all your arts and you're able to. I believe it's also specials as well. It's something like that. So they're going. Yeah.
It's a cool, unique mechanic where if you were to die in this, Laura like falls to the ground, then she goes, "No, I won't lose to you," and gets back up. And Jin, Laura, and Hayes all have multiple lines for this too.
It's brilliant. I didn't know that they all have unique lines for this in particular. That's really cool.
Yeah, if you want to hear them, I showed them in my Let's Play in the. I think it's in the bonus video.
Awesome. So we're obviously up. Yeah. Shem is.
Go for it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to point out that Samu is at the Holy Gate now doing the final menu. That's
Okay.
all.
I was just gonna say that in New Game Plus, you can play as Adam and Hugo in this fight because there's no restrictions on that. They don't have lines for it, but they will still get up.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Okay, so they I guess it makes sense. They wouldn't really program it for them. So yeah, here we go. We got that death. Everything is recharged when they get back up, and they're able to. This is going to finish it actually. This isn't quite Ultimate Aurora, but it still is the level 3.
Ice, ice, ice.
Yep. So I will be splitting for Shem very soon, as Samu prepares to go fight Malos. So I believe we'll have. There we go. Time. GG's to Shemcat. That's Torna, the Golden Country.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Now it's time to Tech to show us Xenoblade FC that just started on Keva's team. Well,
yeah.
Sam is finishing up. Is going to start Malos really quickly.
Yeah, equipping the Aegis.
Yeah.
And being ready to. So I think we'll have a little bit of a commentator swap off here. So I think I'll be staying on since I will also be commentating FC, and Chuck Conroy and the Grand will be heading out.
Good luck. I believe in Agnes' team. They will make the comeback. You can do it.
Yeah,
Good luck.
Still a close race. There's like 5 games to go.
For sure.
All right, thank you so much for having me on. I love commentating speedruns, and I like this specific run. It's a fun time. Always happy to talk Xenoblade with 2 people who play it way more than they should, just like me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure to have you a part of this marathon.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, have a good time, Future Connected commentators. Yeah, let's see some good